Hello. Hi, guys. And gals. That sounds bad. Guys. Hi, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. All right. Let's see. How are we doing today? Hi, Liz. Is this your first time with us today?
Hi, it is. I've been really looking forward to it.
That's good. I'm glad you're here. But you have been watching the videos, right?
You know, I have. I started, and I was going to be done with both the two so far. And I stayed up late last night, accidentally watching Mac 1 and getting
out of
it. I got a lot out of it, but there were some people that were the same. And finally, today in the middle of the video, I was like, oh, okay. So I'm quite up to speed, but.
All right. So that's fine. We'll help you catch up. But other than that, if there's something that I truly went over a lot, I'll just say, go watch the recording and we'll work on that. Right. So, hi, Annette. I like how you and Doug are like, hi. But I get to say hi too. Glad you're back, Annette. I'm sorry you had to. The reason you had to miss last week, I guess. I want to make sure that if anyone has anyone speaking in the background or TV or radio, I hear a sound going on, so please mute yourselves. I am curious that you said 2, and I'm just looking right now because I believe we've gone through 3 classes already. Yeah, let me check on the recordings. Oh no. This is the 3rd. Okay, it's just that we're doing so much each week that somehow it feels that we've hit a lot. Has it only been on 2 classes? That's good to know. All right, but I just had to confirm that you said 2, and I'm like, really? My brain seems to think that it was much more than that. All right, so much for my brain. Now, we have been go ahead and sign into the chat, everyone. And yeah, Liz was trying to join a few times and there was issues with registration. So anyway, that's why she's in the class now, but wasn't originally. Other than that, most of you have been here. There's some people still missing of the regulars that usually show up. So hopefully they'll come back soon because I'm not seeing them right now. I did get a few emails, a couple of people who are at, have something going on and they'll show up a little bit before or later. But now this is preaching to the choir because you guys are here. But remember that if you miss any portion or part, please go and catch up so that when we, show up to the next class, like if you had to leave early, you went to the doctor or something, just catch up so that we can keep moving forward. Now we've had a really good showing here of people who had, in particular last week, and the week before, I showed you guys Dagmar and Yolanda, people who have a broad spectrum of photos. And I know, Annette, you have a lot of photos too, but you weren't here last week because you guys already have some organizations set up. Now, some of you here, on the other hand, have just a few photos and you're maybe trying to learn a little bit more about how it works to see if it's worth it for you. So it's harder to use some of the automatic things that Apple does, like the artificial intelligence that it uses when you don't have enough photos in there. It needs more to feed itself with information to make it work well, right? So I myself have barely enough. I have about 300 photos in mine and 20 videos, and it's barely enough for it to work, but it doesn't really get all the nuance of stuff. So every now and then, I really appreciate that Dagmar has been so open to having us share with her screen. Yoli is going to come back, Annette, whenever you have a chance to share, helps us have that amount of stuff that the computer needs to, or the program needs to be able to use its sources correctly. Now, one thing that was happening last week, Yoli is not here, but I believe maybe you had the same thing going on, Dagmar, is that you had many different people with the same name, right? Did you get a chance to work on that a little bit? Your sound is off.
I tried, but I forgot how I was supposed to do it, so I need to
Okay.
go with that again.
I'll help you with that again later because I want to make sure that everyone, when they start it for the first time, if you set it up correctly, it'll be easier. But if you don't, then it becomes harder and you end up having duplicates. So I'm going to show a little bit more about that. Just to have an idea, Liz, where are you at? Do you have a lot of photos in your Photos app, or just a few, or what's?
I have a lot. I have 30,000.
Okay, good. So we can use your example, so to say, in the same way. When you have a big amount of software of photos, it helps the program do its job better. I'm trying to sign into my phone because one thing that I haven't been showing you, so today I'm going to do that. If you have a Mac or a phone or an iPad, let me go grab, because I do have, give me a second. Let me grab the iPad. Hi, sorry, dog. Oh, stepped on my dog. It's kind of scrunching your toes. Okay, get back up. I have to, all right. I forgot, I've never used an iPad before for teaching because I didn't have one. And whenever people have iPads, I always had to go, well, it's kind of just like the phone, but it isn't identical to the phone. So a teacher donated an iPad to me for you to use for teaching, but it's doesn't have power right now because I haven't been using it. I don't use it for anything. And so I'm connecting it right now to get it to charge. So when I'm ready to speak, it'll have charge so that we can use it for class. Meanwhile, I want to show you, let me share my screen now. And I believe, Alan, you also have not many photos in yours, right? Look, I mean, I know Norm doesn't have many. How about you, Alan? You don't have many, right?
I do have enough now. Yeah.
Oh, you did that. You worked on that week. Okay, so now you have a big one. You did the transfer. Okay, great. And then Paul, I believe you don't have, I don't remember. No, Paul, you do have some. You do have quite a bit in yours, right? You did do the whole iCloud thing. Remind me, Paul, your situation, because I like to speak to people's needs. And who else? Linda, you don't have many from what I remember, right? I'm just remembering offhand what you guys have said from other weeks. So go ahead and answer in the chat if you have an idea of how many photos you have. And how do you find out? You go to the library and you have this set on all photos. And if you scroll to the very bottom, you'll see there how many photos you have. It'll say 281 photos and 21 videos is what mine is saying. So that's where you'll have an idea of what you have. All right. So remember that the all photos is there because I have a narrower window. If my window gets bigger, then you see years, months, days, and all photos. I'm going to leave it a little bit narrower because it's easier when I share if I have less width to share this with you guys. And so I'll make sure I'll have it in this mode, but know that it depends on the width of your window, what you see or don't see. Now, what we've covered, and this is why I thought it had been 3 weeks, because usually when we have a lot of students, it takes much longer to cover all of the elements that we've already covered in the last 2 weeks. But let me do a quick little rehash because I'm going to show you the same stuff on your phone and or your iPad. So here on the left, where it says library all photos, it shows you everything in order of, what's the thing that the all photos shows you in order of what? What's the organization it has? I don't hear anyone.
Date, isn't it? The date it was.
Date and time. So earlier in the morning versus later in the day, right? So yeah. So that's the only thing that matters in this mode. But it does help that this thing keeps changing there. So if I'm hovering over here, it kind of tells me what I'm seeing. And this window spans from May 20th to 2020 to May 21. So you can see this name changing, and it also gives you an idea of location. That's a little bit off because, you know, these photos span all over the place. It's hard to show a correct space, but it does show you a bit of the span of what you're covering. So I have photos here all the way from 2013, I believe, to 2021, because I have a little sprinkling to show many years. So let's head down here and show those years. And the way they show now is in these little kind of boxes where they show you, this is one that we the other day redated to 183. There wasn't even digital photography then. Then it jumps to my first digital photos, which are actually digital, which is 2003, 2004, 2007. So that's how you quickly can say, oh yeah, the wedding happened in da da da, or the date happened in da da da. But like every one of these years, my son did the Imaginary. So if I go by dates, I would have to find one per day, versus if I'm like, well, they all happen in, you know, June, then I can just go and try to find a Imaginary in June, but then I'm going to get all these different Junes of all the different years. So we decided that there's something else that we can use other than date and time to organize, but we have to do it ourselves. So stuff that Apple doesn't do for us, that's when we use albums or keywords. So we began to speak a little bit about keywords. I showed you albums that were already made in Dagmar's set. So now today we're going to focus more on that kind of stuff. How do we create our own organization? But first, I want to show you the equivalencies between your phone and the computer with stuff that we've already done. So, okay, so here we go to years, and then we see things by months. So in the year 1983, there was only 1 month, July. So then we jump to February 2003, and that's because I have only a few photos. Then I jump to April 2003, right? So if you have many more photos, you probably can go through a lot more. I'm very quickly, I made it to February 2010. So months helps you find things and then go, oh yeah, May. Oh, actually that's true. Imaginary happens in May every year. So if I go to every May, I would see an Imaginary photo. And then when you actually are looking for a very specific day, so you're like, okay, I know it's April 4th, boom, you go there and you find it. So when we just look at all our photos, we head out here to the all photos mode. And there's one thing that the phone doesn't do, and it is that I can change. I can see all my photos in the actual size and shape they were. Like these are panorama, so they look long and thin. This isn't, you know, a selfie of the phone, so it has this kind of weird format. Or I can choose to see them clicking on that as little squares, which is a bit more pleasant to watch, but it doesn't show you the entire people. So people's heads might be cut off, people's feet might be cut off, the sides might be broken up. I prefer to see it this way, but for display purposes, you're trying to show someone your trip or something, you might want to show it this way. Anyway, so that's what that is. And then this here makes it be really tiny. So it kind of goes back to years when you go really tiny, right? Because in the end, I'm seeing it so tiny that I can barely tell, or really big, where you have really big previews of each photo. I like in this mode not to be in really big because it's hard to scroll through 30,000 photos in this mode. I like to be somewhere in the middle, or move it to whatever feels more comfortable to you. I kind of like to go big enough that I can see I can actually distinguish what's in the photo, and I can actually see the name underneath it. And that kind of tells me that's kind of big enough to quickly try to find something, but that's up to your comfort level, what you choose. Another thing that I want us to always see is this little info window. And when you click on this little I or Command I, it gives you info. And right now I don't have anything selected, so it just tells me, well, info on my whole library. But when I click on one thing, it tells me exactly where it was taken, what camera took it, yada, yada, yada. In this case, who's in it. And then it shows me where it was taken, which is that you know, ice cream place on State Street. Okay. So now everything I just showed you, let's go see that on the phone. Okay. So I'm going to change my, change my share. So when I say phone, and or iPad, go ahead and open your phones and or iPads to see this. My iPad is still charging, but my phone is available. All right, so I'm going to open the Photos app on my phone, okay, which is that one right there. Click on it. And as you can see, and I don't know that you can tell because, you know, it's my photos, not yours, but there it is. There's my final photos. And if I scroll all the way to the beginning, which in my case isn't too big, there's my beginning one, the one that I labeled the other day as 1983, right? So this is exactly the same as what I have on my phone is what I have in my computer, because this phone is, and this computer is set up with the whole iCloud thing, right? Where they're going back to forth. All right, back and forth. Okay, now, down here, you see that this all photos is equivalent in my computer to the word library, where I'm seeing everything in order. And then here you see the days, months, and years. Okay, so exactly the same thing we saw on the computer is what we can do on our phone. If you want to hone in on something that happened in a particular year, scroll up and down this way, a particular month, a particular day, or back to all photos. Okay, sorry, I pressed the wrong thing because my fingers on the mouse, and back to all photos. Now, one thing you can't change in the phone is that you do see them all in this little square mode. You can't see them in this other mode that we see them on the computer, where you can see if it's vertical or horizontal or panorama and their file name underneath. We don't see that. So how do we see some info on these photos, right? And how do we see them bigger? Well, I actually didn't even show you yet how to see them bigger. And let me just show you again, what are the similarities? I think that was it for now. Zoom in and out. Okay, so now how do we see them bigger? Let me go to one of these last ones and select it. Okay, so what I just did is I put my finger on this one and the last one of all my photos and selected it. So now that I see it bigger, now I can push up with my finger and here's the info for that photo. Okay, so once again, I can see this photo, fill in my screen, and then I hold the middle of the screen and pull up, not push, pull up, and there's the possibility to see when it was taken, where it was taken, what location it's in, what phone took it, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense, you guys? Is that working for you? And then when you don't want to see that, just pull it down and that you don't stop seeing the detail. Did that work? Say yes or no, or if it didn't work, you can't see it. Yeah, I can't show it yet on the who has an iPad here? Who is doing this on their iPad? Is there anyone here who is doing it on their iPad? I'm thinking this cable for the charger isn't working. I get a better charger cable because my iPad is sitting there, not charged, even though it's connected. I am working on organizing my whole desk. Made a whole big, let me see if this, somehow that doesn't seem to be. That one working? Why is it not charging? Oh, it was charging. Okay. It was just so uncharged that it's taken a while. Okay, so now I'll put that in there so that when the iPad is ready to share, it'll tell me. Okay, sorry. So back to my phone. All right, so now, so that's how you see the info. So in this mode, you don't see the info. You would have to select the one that you want to see. And then once you have it selected, then you can pull up. Now notice that this one here says no camera information, out of location. This one was one that actually, last time I taught this class, I think it was Yoli, had a photo sent for her through email and she wanted to know how to incorporate it into the photo, so I downloaded it. Notice that the way it was sent and the way it was downloaded, it came down with no information. It does have the date it was taken, but that's it. Like there's no other information. Now, that photo could have had that information, but when it was sent to Yolanda, how you send a photo could or not have stripped it of its information. And then she sent it to me, and then I downloaded it. So by now I have no camera information. So no date, no location, no place. You could also have purposely stripped the information from it to send it. But I think this was more just because of how it was sent to 3 different places that the information didn't come. Notice that it's telling me it sees 2 faces right there, but it doesn't know who these people are because I haven't named them. It's not that these people have no names. I haven't named these people anything. So it just has a little question mark. If I were to click on one of these little circles there, I could tag it and give it a name, and then it would be people. So I could do that on the phone as well, right? But I'm not going to, so I'm going to just put my finger on some other portion and that disappears. Again, I can touch that little finger and it's showing me that it recognizes it, that there's people. I'm not going to give it, okay, let me just try. Let me just give it a name. I'm going to select on give it a name. I'm going to add a name and call this one. I'm going to call this person don't know, right? And I'm going to say done. And then I'm not going to, and I'm, next. And now this person is now named don't know. So I'm going to say done. Now later, when we go back into my computer, when I go to people, we'll find out that there's another person there called don't know. So I label it on the phone, but that information transfers to the computer. Okay. Same if I were to add a caption or something like that. And over here, I could adjust the time and date it was taken, or I can add a location. So I could say, oh yeah, this was in, whatever. I can add that it was in, I can invent New York. And then it asks me where in New York. And I'll just say general New York, because I don't know exactly where in New York. So, or maybe I will say, no, let me just say general New York. So I'm going to choose that one. And so now this one has a location that shows me a general place in New York. Okay. So I've added that in the phone. It doesn't only need to be added in the computer. Okay. I push down, all that goes away, and all I see is the photo. Now, at the very top, it tells me something. For some reason, it's telling me City Hall. So maybe it did have some idea of location. Oh, no. I said City Hall because I said New York. And when you don't have a place, when you look for a direction, say from Santa Barbara to New York, it'll go from City Hall to City Hall. So when I said just New York as location, it says it was taken at City Hall of New York. That's just because that's a location I gave it. That's why it's saying City Hall there. Okay. Now, this edit will open up a whole nother world of editing this photo, which I will first show you on the computer before I show it here, but you can edit this photo doing stuff to it just like we could at home. Oh, there, my iPad is beginning to have a life of its own. So later I will change that. Okay, so that's all you can do at this point. You could also decide to throw it away. If I decide to throw it away, I can go to this trash over here, but that would mean that I am putting it on hold in a temporarily or recently deleted for 30 days. I don't want to throw it away. If I want more information about this photo, I can click on this eye and that same thing shows up. So I just like to pull up and down, but this eye gives us that same information window. Okay, so that's what that was. I'll press it again for it to go away. I just like pushing up and pulling down. I don't know why, but a lot of people don't know that. And by mistake, they pull up and they go, what's that? Like it happens because your finger just did it. So now you know it's the same as doing this little info. And then here's the little heart where you can call this one your favorite. So I'm going to actually call this one a favorite so that later we'll see how this one has been added also to my favorites there in the computer. And then if I want to send this photo to someone, then that's that little icon, which is the Apple icon for sharing. Every time you see this little box with the upper arrow, that's the, oh yeah, share this picture. So I can click on this icon and it'll tell me, well, do you want to send it as a text? Do you want to send it as an email? Do you want to put it in your notes? Do you want to make yourself a reminder, et cetera, et cetera? So it just gives me all these different, do you want to airdrop it to someone? So it gives me all these different choices, right? I can add it to a shared album. We talked at the end of the last class about shared albums. Dagmar and I created a shared album So I could go ahead and say add to shared album, and then it's gonna look for which shared album, right? So I can go here and look for a shared album, and I'm gonna, oh, I guess it wasn't in this. I think the shared album I had with Dagmar was in was it another account? I don't know, it was in this account. Do we not have that shared album anymore? Oh, did we get rid of our shared album, Dagmar? You must have deleted our shared album. I can't hear you.
I didn't know what to do with it, and
Well, I was demoing with it, so I wish it had stayed, but never mind.
I can put it back.
We can. We had a shared album here between she and I was just showing, but it doesn't matter. If you want to go ahead and put it back, don't do it. Then I can, but basically I could have added it here. I could have said, oh, look, Dagmar, what a great photo I took of yada, yada. And I just add it to the shared album she and I have. When she goes to shared album, she'll see these two people, right? So if you have a running shared album with your relatives, your kids, your boss, whatever, maybe you're a contractor and you're modeling a house and you do a shared album with your client and you take photos of things as they go. I don't know, be creative. You can just have many reasons to have a shared album, but it needs to be someone else who also has an iPhone. It doesn't work. You can't do a shared album on a phone to someone with an Android. There's workarounds for the computer, but not if you want to see it this way. Or I could decide to add it one of my existing albums. Now, I don't really have many albums going yet. These are the albums that we're going to create, but I do have, I believe, one. So if I want to add it to my albums, I discovered that I have one album called To Be Edited. I'll show it to you later. And I can say, well, let me add it to this To Be Edited album. And I'll click it in there. And so that now has gone in the To Be Edited album. So basically you can do a lot from here. It's just share is just not to send it out to other people. It's just also to reorganize your own photos amongst your own albums and stuff that you have on your phone. Now we don't have any albums yet, so we're going to go and create albums, and then we can see how to add albums on the computer, but also this is how you would add them on your phone. If you're sitting in the doctor's office waiting and there's nothing to do, hey, open up your phone and start organizing your photos, right? Anyway.
Wait. Can I tell me how to do it? It says shared album, invite people. Do I put
you have to invite me again to the SBCC address, which if you start writing this, you already wrote to me last week, maybe you'll have it right. What's it called? What's my email here? SBCC. I have a, give me a second here. What's my, I'll have to go check what my account is on this one. It's SBCC official 01. I'll just give me a second. Let me just finish with this. And then
pipeline.sbcc.edu.
No. This is my phone. That's the school phone, and it has a different name. Let me go find out. Not that one. The Apple ID is SBCC 0001 at iCloud. SBCC 001 at iCloud.com.
At
iCloud.com.
.1?
.com.
iCloud.
.com. iCloud.com.
iClouds. How come it's not doing right? CL. I can't spell.
iCloud.com.
Okay, I press create.
And then just create, yeah. And then
And
when I
there
go
you
to my
are.
emails, I should see it. Okay. So before I go pick that up, Liz has her hand up. Can you, yeah, what's up? You're saying-
Yeah, in terms of sharing, it also says duplicate and copy. I was just wondering if you can.
Well, we're going to work on duplicating and copying when we start editing, for example.
Okay.
So yeah, there's just so many things you can do with this. I wasn't going to show them all, but you can duplicate, which is basically here. Let me just do it. Why not? I'm going to duplicate this exact same photo. So everyone choose a photo that you're okay duplicating, that you can make a photo that you recognize so we can go back to it to delete the duplicate later. You know what I mean? So when you're working with this, work with one, maybe your last photo you took, something where it's easy. Don't have one of the ones in the middle of, 3 years ago that you'll never find again right now. Just hit duplicate. And now I will have 2 of them. And in fact, if I back off now, I will see that I have 2 of the same thing. Okay, so how did I do the duplicate? I had it selected and I went to the share. So under this share button, there's a lot of good stuff, right? One was duplicate. Okay.
Where's the shared button?
Okay, the share button is this on the phone, this left side box with an upper arrow. That is always on the Apple.
Okay.
The icon for share. But when you think of share, you think of, email it to someone or text it to someone, like that's, or maybe airdrop it to someone if you know about airdropping, but that's all you think of. But under this share button, it's like so many other features are on the phone. And in this case, you could change it to another album, add it to another album. You can duplicate it, which is what I just did. Now, what's the difference between duplicate and copy? Right? They seem to be similar. Well, nope. Duplicate, if you hit it one time, don't keep hitting it, or you keep duplicating it. What duplicate does is it literally gives you 2 of the same thing. So if I now back out and then back out again, you'll see right next to the first one, there's another one. There's 2 of the exact same photo. Got it? That's all that means. Versus if I click on this phone and I say copy photo, so you can, so again, you hit the share and you hit copy photo. Dagmar, can I help you? Because it looks like you can't find.
Well, I'm caught because I don't see where the share is.
All right. Are you in the phone? Are you on your phone?
My phone and I
Okay.
have my
So watch my mouse. Here's my photo. Right?
You're not on my screen for some reason.
Oh, okay. So that's different. So then you need to go to your Zoom icon.
I got you. Okay.
You got me? Okay.
All right.
So when you have a photo up,
Yeah.
down here at the bottom, you have 4 choices: trash, info, love, or share. This left icon is your share. So click on share. And I was just saying, it's much more than just share. Like if I decide to text someone, I can click on this and I'll message them. I can email it. I can do all these different things. Or if I start scrolling down, I can see all of the stuff. It's like a ton of stuff. So here's where I could add it to a shared album, add it to one of my albums. And what I had people do was duplicate. So click on duplicate and you get 2 of the same thing. That's what duplicate does, period. So what's the difference between duplicate and copy photo? Okay, so duplicate means duplicate. Copy photo, click on copy photo, right? So if you click on it, that photo has been copied to the computer's memory. So say that now I would open something else. Say that now I open, I'm just trying to think, say that I text someone or I email someone. I'm gonna open the email. I could have emailed it directly, right? But I'm just saying, say that I want to make a note. I could have, I'll make a note out of this. If you haven't ever used notes, let me just show you. I'll say continue. I'll make a new note. And I don't want to teach you about notes right now, but just watch. Instead of bringing that photo in, I can just paste that photo in, right? Meaning it's in the memory of my computer. There's other ways to do this, but I'm just showing how that could be done. Or I could go and send an email and go in here and create a new email and send and paste it in here, right? Because basically that photo has been pasted, and that's what that copy meant. It's pasted and it's copied into the memory of my phone, and I can paste it anywhere until I'm done. Now, that said, I'm putting it in an email, which might have been easier to just actually send it as an email, but I'm just giving you this as an example. Now, I do want to go into my inbox here and see if I got the message from you. I'm not seeing an invite. Dagmar, maybe you didn't write the address right, because last week I did have the share for your last. Oh, Yolanda is saying that she can't connect. That's interesting. Why can't you connect? I don't know. Let me write back to her. I sent 2 emails today, I noticed. Did you guys get 2 emails today too from me?
No.
No? Oh, I noticed that I got 2 emails myself. Okay, let me see if I can give her, I'm not gonna cancel this one. Give me a second because Yolanda's trying to connect. Let me email her the link again. For some reason, she can't get in. Let me email her the link in case she, for some reason, ended up with the problem link. So give me a second, you guys, because I was wondering where she was. She's always in class. Give me a second here. Oh, she did get a, okay. Okay, I just sent her an email so that, but it was easier for me to do it on the computer than to do it on the phone. So thanks for waiting, you guys. So that's hopefully she'll join us. Okay, so let me back up. Can you try again to send me the invite, Dagmar? I will put here in the, it's SBCC 0001
Wait a minute.
at
I
iCloud.
have
dot
SBCC 001.
0001, 3 zeros,
Okay, that's the problem.
at
Okay.
iCloud.com. Okay, I put it in the,
Wait a minute. Oh, gosh, it erased it. Oh, I'll have to do it again.
that's all right. Don't worry. Don't worry. Oh, there comes Yolanda. I guess the link worked.
1, 2, 3.
All right.
1.
All right. So hi, Yolanda. Glad you're here. Oh, I don't think she can hear me. Okay, so back to my phone. In fact, she's the one who sent me this phone last time, so maybe she recognizes this photo that I'm using as an example.
Yeah. Did you
yeah.
get my, yeah, did you get my email that says I could not get in?
Yeah, I just sent you a link again, but I don't know why you couldn't get in. But I sent you the link again and here you are. So I guess it worked.
Yeah, because I what I did is I connected with my son in Colorado, and so he kind of helped me to get in.
Well, great. Well, I just saw your message, so I just sent it to you. So you probably fixed it yourself with your son's help before my email, because I just was demonstrating something on email and I saw your email saying I can't see you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have seen it. But I was actually using the photo that you shared last time that we had this class as a sample of duplicating, and that's why I have 2 of it. Okay. And then so we're on our phones right now, Yolanda. So open your phone, select any photo and select it one more time to make it big. And I was showing people that when you're seeing that photo in big, what you're seeing in the bottom right here, if you want to find out more info about this photo, you click on this little eye. Now you have the original one of this, so you might have real information, but here we added our own information. So on the left side, you have this share icon. And here is where I was explaining the different things that you can do under the share icon, which is much more than what we consider the basic set of sharing. we also can copy the photo, add it to albums, duplicate, hide. So why would you want to hide a photo? I'll show you these features later in our computer. But hide a photo, maybe for some reason there's a photo that you don't want if people are looking at your phones for them to see. So it doesn't delete it, it just hides it. So since I have 2 of these, I'm gonna hide one, right? So it says this photo will be hidden, but it can be found in a thing called the hidden album. So you can show or hide the hidden album setting. So I'm gonna hide this photo. Now, remember, I had made 2 of them, so now I see only one. The other one is the one that I hid. So again, if there's photos in here that you don't want to be showing to someone when you're showing their phones or something like that, you can just hide it. So now I have one hidden photo. Now, let's go ahead and go back to that photo and then back to this icon. Other things you can do, you can turn it into a slideshow. I'm not going to do that right now, but there you go. You can do AirPlay, meaning if you're connected with your TV that has AirPlay, I don't, but you can play it on a TV to show. So maybe you have a series of photos that you want to show on from your last trip, and you have one of those big TVs, you can connect that through AirPlay. You can use it as the wallpaper for your phone. You can decide the background of your phone will be that photo. And there it is. Now it's been set. And do I really want that or not? I'm going to say cancel because I don't, but that's what you can do from here. Or you can change the date and time if it was wrong, location, but look what you can do. For those of you who have iPhone smartwatches, you can also have this photo be the background of your photo, okay? You can turn on a file, et cetera, or you can print it way at the very bottom. So you can do all of that from your phone, all right? You can print this photo from your phone. All right, that's enough of this list, but if you never know how to do something on the phone, just consider the share button, because just about everything under the sun can be done under the share button, okay? Sorry about that. All right, so now let's close that up. And I'm gonna go back with this arrow to the main set of photos. And there it is. That's the things on the phone that I have shown you what we did on the computer, and a few more things that I'll show you in a minute on the computer. Now, what if I want to, remember I showed you the memories in the computer the other day that you know, I had to show that using Dagmar or Yolanda's samples because they have more photos. Well, the For You down here is similar to the memories. We click on For You, and not similar, it is memories. And there it is, it shows me memories. Okay, so this is the equivalent, and I only have one memory because I have very few photos. Okay, so that's what this For You does. It's the equivalent to the memories. And when you click on it, it is called memory. So for some reason, they put the name For You instead of memories there, which in the computer is called memories. Okay, so is everyone seeing their memories?
Yes.
Yeah.
So last week we had shown Dagmar's memories, and we had favorited one of them and stuff like that. Anyway,
Diana, when you say memories, are you talking about in our iPhone or in our
right now I'm just sharing iPhone. But this is identical to the memories on the computer, on the laptop.
How do I go to that? I go to the photos.
Go to photos.
Okay.
And then down here at the very bottom, if you're looking at all your photos, you see library, For You, albums, and search. And that For You, do you see that?
No, what I see is like drop messages, mail, and messenger. Maybe I'm on the wrong.
Are you in the Photos app?
I am
Make
on
sure
Photos.
you're in the Photos app, right? Because Messenger is not part of Photos app.
So where after clicking on Photos, where do I
Yeah,
go?
maybe you're in this mode. Are you looking at one photo right now? Are you looking at one photo, or are you looking at all your photos?
I'm looking at one photo right now.
Okay, so that's why you need to back off. Look at how I do that. From this top arrow, I need to back out of this one photo to see all my photos.
I don't have a back arrow on here. What I had is an X, whether I should click on X and then it will disappear.
Okay, yeah, you're probably editing it or something. So hit the X, yeah.
Hit the X.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Do
I
you
know. I see
do you
the
all
arrow.
your photos?
Yeah, now
so
I see. I just library and then for you. Okay, for you. I will click on
Yeah.
for you.
mhm. For you shows you memories.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Got it now. I'm with
Okay.
you now.
Got it. So we go from library, which shows you by years, days, or month, to for you. And then here's our good old albums. We're going to be making albums today. And for those of you who have some already, click on albums. And here you should see your albums. Now, I only had one album called To Be Edited, remember? And then I have something that everyone has automatically, which is recents. Mine are all recents because I have so few. And then remember I said that I had added this one to the favorites. And so I see my favorites item, album that has 19 people, 19 photos, I mean. And I had showed you how to make favorites last week by hitting the little hearts on the photos. So if I want to look at the favorites album, I can click on that. And here are the ones that I had favorited. And today I favorited this one by giving it a little heart. So it got added to my favorites album. Okay, so this is one album. For those of you who already have other albums, you would be able to enter your other albums. How do you walk out of these albums? By going up here and backing out. So those of you who have other albums, I have one called To Be Edited. I'll click on To Be Edited. And these are photos that I put in here that I want to work on. I want to make darker or lighter or crop or something like that. So this is my one album that I already have. Dagmar or Yoli probably have many other albums. Are you seeing them here? You can kind of scroll sideways to see more of them. Are you seeing them here? Anyone else who has albums? We're going to make more, so then we'll see more.
Is my photo stream an album?
No, I don't think it shows up as an album. Do you
Okay.
have? Yeah, it's not an album. Do you see my photo stream there? No.
Yeah, it shows
Oh,
up
well,
together.
Okay,
where the
so then
albums are.
maybe it is an album. Yeah, I guess those are the photos that are being transferred. Okay. Here I have that shared one, and then I can keep seeing people's and places and just bunches of other stuff under albums because I'm going to tell you about those later. But for now, that's all. If I want to create my own album, I can start from here to create one, but let's just create them on the computer and you'll see them here. You could, with this little plus sign, create a new one, but I'm going to back off of that for now. And the last thing that you have here is the search, which is equivalent to the search that we've been using in the computer. So say that over here, I'm going to search for trees. Remember on Dagmar's, we search for birds and a lot of birds come up. So I search for trees and here's what shows up for me. Or what if I have a keyword that I wrote? And remember the other day I demoed some keywords. We haven't yet created our own really many. I think we created one, all of us together by writing it there. But I remember I had a keyword called graduation. So as soon as I write keyword graduation, there it is. Any photos that I have keyworded with graduation have shown up. Okay, so basically what I'm showing you right now is everything I showed you last week is doable on the computer, is now pretty much doable on the phone. But I know that I still need to teach you more about albums and about keywords and stuff like that. So if you don't have any keywords yet, then just put one of those generic words that the computer looks for. Water. What does it look like water in your pictures? There. So it gives you pictures of water. Trees, cars. So let me see if I have any cars. There it is. It's showing me a couple of cars. All right, so there's one teensy little car way in the background there, and then there's a big bit, there's some cars, and there's cars. So suddenly, those are the pictures that have cars. All right, but it won't be able to find, you know, Aunt May because if you never named her. But if you did name her, so let me say that I want to look for Sam because I named someone Sam. Then there it is. That's the picture where Sam is in that photo. Okay. So if I know that I named Sam in my people, which I did, and he appears in 2 photos, then I can use the search for the people that I have. Now, this is why it matters how you write the name for people. Remember with Yoli that we found that she had many different Yolis, but one was Yoli with uppercase, one was Yolanda, one was Yoli Aumentado with uppercase, the other one was Yoli with lowercase, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So all those, as far as the photo is concerned, are 5 different Yolis or 10 different Yolis. So when you have 10 different Yolis and you write it one way, different Yolis might appear. But if you only write Yoli one same way, like uppercase Y, lower OLI, for example, and they're all the same way, then you will see, 200 photos here because you're looking for all of the Yolis. But if you have to write Yolanda Aumentado, you might find only one photo under that name, even though there's, maybe 200 photos of her, right? So you need to be sure to write it the right way. All right.
So Diana,
Yes.
I'm sorry. So is it then you suggest that we be consistent and then just merge all of those in different modes of names, like
Yeah.
and make them consistent only one, so that they can only be in one. Okay.
Yeah, because the whole point of the search is to find, if you write down the name Yoli, you want to find photos of Yoli. But if you only find 5 that were in one album, you don't find the other 5 because they got named differently, then you're not seeing all the photos of Yoli. But if you put them all under one name and you write Yoli and you find 1,000 photos, then those are the 1,000, that's it. Those are the 1,000 photos of Yoli. But you need to have them all as one person. Because there's, as I said, you are one and only. And people who have really, different names might be one and only. But how many Johns can you know? I personally have 6 couples. Personally, no, not like people who know who I don't know, people who are friends of mine, who are a couple called Mark and Nancy. So it means I have at least 6 Marks and 6 Nancys. And then I have Nancys or Marks that aren't in a couple, but I happen to have, coincidentally, the other day we found another one who's also another Mark and Nancy. So if I write the word Nancy, I would like to see 5 possible Nancys here, right? I wouldn't want to see only one Nancy, but I would have to have called one Nancy Smith, Nancy Jones, Nancy, what A, B, C, so that I can find each one of those Nancys. If I just say the word Nancy, I should have all 5 of their faces pop up if I've labeled them. But that's why you can't count on that, your different spelling, to show you all people with your name. Your album has to have all of you under one name if you are the same person. You only want 5 albums called Nancy if you are 3 different Nancys, or in this case 3 different Yolandas, but you're always one Yolanda, so you want you all to be under the same.
But
All right.
I forgot how you combine those.
Yeah, so when we go back to the computer, I'll show you that. Okay, so now I just wanted to kind of show you the equivalencies of everything I've already shown you. There's more here to show you on the phone, but right now I've shown you the equivalencies and more. Right, I've actually shown you more than the equivalencies right now. So let me go show you the new stuff that I haven't shown you yet on the phone on your computer. Now, these 3 little dots. You know what? I am so wrong. I can change to this mode. This is new. I didn't know you can do that. I just discovered it. See those 3 little dots right there? Those 3 little dots let you see them either as squares or, and you click on those 3 little dots again, right here at the top, and then you can go to the aspect, and then you can see whether they're long, short, sideways, et cetera, et cetera. That's news to me, so yay, I found something new. So those 3 little dots, I knew that it let you zoom in and out, but it occurred to me suddenly, how do you see it? There it is. So I prefer in the phone, and so I'm fine seeing them square. I'm going to go back to those 3 little dots, and remember the whole places that we have on our computer that shows you the map. This is where you see the map of all your places. So here's my North America, and remember that we labeled this one South America the other day. No, surprisingly, I have 271 around California. If I click on this one, it says 7. I'll zoom into all the pictures that are taken in New York or Toronto or Manhattan or stuff like that, and back out. Okay, if I go over here, it'll take me to the ones in California, and then there's all these different locations in California, and I'll back up. Okay, so so on the phone, how to find things by place, you go to these three little dots right there. And it's hard to hit it without touching select. So be careful not to touch select, just touch the three little dots. And that's when you can zoom in to make these photos on your phone bigger, which might be nice because they always look so tiny, or zoom out and make them really tiny if you want to search everything. But then it becomes basically impossible to see. So I'd rather at most zoom in so that I can see the photos a little bit better as I'm scrolling on my phone, and then go, oh, this is the one I wanted to show you. And I open it up in big and I back out. Okay. Now, if I want to edit this photo and I go, oh, this one's great, but I want to edit it, then I click on this little share and I add it to my album. I have an album called To Be Edited because I know that when I get home and I have time to edit it, I'll edit that one later, right? So that's kind of how it's nice to hover and look at things. I don't have time to edit it now, but I'll edit it later. And so you were able to add it to the album to be edited. Or this one is supposed to be snow, but it's so dark it doesn't look like snow. I can edit it right here on the phone, which I'll teach you later how to do, or I can say, yeah, later I will add to the to be edited album. So that's how I'm adding to an album. All right, I'm done showing the phone. Unless you have a burning question, I want to go back to the computer and let's create some of those albums that I'm talking about. Any questions right now?
Diana,
Yes.
when you said that to be edited, that was in the iPhone. So when you go back to your laptop or your computer, that grouping to be edited will also be, we will also see that as group.
Yes.
To be
Yes.
edited in the
Yeah,
laptop.
that's
Okay.
something that I already had. That's
Okay.
something that I owned and that I had in my computer. So yeah.
All right, thank you.
Now, one thing I want to do before I'm done, though, I forgot that I had asked Dagmar to invite me. So I'm going to go to my mail and see if I got an invite this time. No invite. Oh, I don't have you set up here. Sorry. Here. I was looking at the pipeline. There it is. So Dagmar is inviting me to class test. I'm going to click on that and I will subscribe to this class test. Oh, this is the one from that's Tuesday. That's last week's. So I guess I didn't yet get an invitation. So that's last Tuesday's, but you got rid of that one. So I still don't have an invite to this.
I don't know what I do with it. It's on the screen. It says sbcc301@icloud.com.
Okay.
How do I get it to go to you?
Do you have something that says invite or go or share or?
What I was looking for.
Well, guess what? I'm just about to stop sharing now. So why don't you share your screen and I'll help you with that.
Okay. It's up. Oh, where do I get that share? I don't see it now.
Okay. So now can you find the Zoom windows?
The Zoom window. Zoom. I see the Zoom window. Oh, share screen. But it's not allowing me to do that. It's not lit up. Oh, back to meeting. Maybe I'm not in the meeting.
No. When you share a screen, read to me. When you hit the share screen, what's happening? Just read it out to me.
Well, I don't have, I hit the Zoom thing. I'm going to shut that. So I'm now on my screen and I see you, and on the bottom it says leave. It does, wait a minute.
No, don't leave, don't leave. You'll leave the class. Do you see a big green button that says share screen?
No, I do not. I'm going to look for more. No more. Doesn't, oh, wait. It's under more?
No.
No.
Really? Share screen? No, tell me what you're seeing. Do you see the mute button and the stop? I mean,
mute, stop video, reactions, app, whiteboard, more.
Oh, wow. You really don't see share screen.
No.
maybe it's under more then, but that's weird. Did you
Under
change yours?
Yes, there it is. I got
There it
it.
is. You must have the window really tiny and that's why. Okay, good. So now we're seeing your screen. Okay, so,
It should be right here.
okay, so this is the shared album. You have no items in it yet, but have you shared it with me yet? Let's see. Oh, no, you created an album called that. Okay, you don't need to call the album. Let's do this. This album, right click on that and let's change that name. Right click on that album.
This out. Right here.
Yes, yeah. Right click on it, go to the name, go to the name. Yeah, and now right click. Yeah, and you can copy that, select it all and copy it so that later you don't have to rewrite my whole address. Yeah, just do a Command C or right click copy. Okay, and now just write this one, shared with Diana or class album or something like that, just because later, just say class album. So just go ahead and write
I
class
found this
album.
on the web.
Okay, just go into, click inside of the place that says SBCC iCloud, just click your mouse in there. And now just write, actually, now that you click, you have to select it again, sorry. And just call this one class. Just call it class. Just write the word class. You don't have to click in again. When it's already selected,
Okay.
let's select it all. Now just write the word class and all of the selected stuff will disappear. Okay, last, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Leave it there. Click outside. That's the name. Now hit return or enter and that's the name of that album. Yeah. Now to share this with me,
It says last.
it doesn't matter. It really does not matter.
Okay.
What matter, I mean, it can be called lass. I'm a lass. Now, you need to share it with me. And we did this last week, but we did it rather quickly. So head on up to all those buttons that you have at top. There's one that has like a little person. Nope. Above the word last, not the top ones, but a little bit lower under that. Yeah, that. Now move to the right. Nope, go down again. Yeah, now move to the right, and there's, keep going to the right. You might have zoom in the way, but there's the one more and one more. There we go, that person, click on that. And now here's where you write SBCC 1000 at, so you're sharing it with me. So right there where it says last, start writing. You don't need to delete anything, just start writing. SBCC. Well, click in there, try again. Okay, so SBCC. Now you need to delete the last. If you leave it there, it needs to be, okay, so delete it. Something about Macs that I forget people don't know. When something is selected, Mac or PC, all you need is to start writing and everything that's selected disappears, okay? SBCC 0001, 301 at iCloud.com. Okay, so now she's going to share it with me, right? And oh, no, you have that number. Okay, go and select that and copy it because that's not the right place for it. Go ahead and select that. Copy it. Command C or right click copy, whatever you prefer. And that should be down underneath where it says invite people. See, right underneath it says invite people. There's a little plus sign to the right. Yeah, click on that. Yeah, and that's where you need to put in invite people. So now put my, oh no, I did it on the right place. I apologize. No, you had it in the right place. You had invite people plus, and you put my address. So you won't be able to. You can paste, okay, and that would, you're missing one C. .com. There we go. .com. Hit return. Or enter. Yeah, because you don't have me. We did this last time. You did it successfully. Now it's searching. Go ahead and click away from that. Forget that. I need to get in there and do it for you. I don't know what's wrong because last time we got me invited and I shared and everything.
Go
Just
right
forget it for a minute, okay? Because I really, it says invite people, but it's only inviting people that you know, and you need to have me on your contacts, but you don't have me in your contacts right now. So it's just getting confusing. So let's just leave it right now, okay? I'll ask, or here, let me do this. Let me request remote control or do it. I was trying to go somewhere else. That's why I didn't want to spend that much time with this, but since we're doing it, let me do it. Go ahead and say yes to remote control. Okay, so here's the problem. This album right now can be called anything, class test, right? And so let me just share with Diana. And this is just so that we know what this album is, right? Let me go over here and put something in there. Let me put a photo in there. I don't care what, I'll throw in a photo. So there it is. Now this is that photo that we want to put in there. Oh, why didn't it go in there? There it is. Okay, so now we have one photo that you can share with me. Now, when we, let me see if I can, add people just by adding SB. Let's see, no. But I don't know why it's doing that. This is 0001 at iCloud.com and hit return. There it is. Now it's letting, okay. So it was just before it was asking to find you, to find me in your comments, but now it doesn't need to be found in your comments. Invite people, add notification. So let me see. It has a question mark, like it can't find me. I found it now. Okay. So the question mark is because I'm not yet invited. So now watch, I'm going to stop your share. And now I'm going to share my email, where now I just got an invitation, subscribe to Dagmar Friedman's class test, share with Diana. I did a big now, last week's we had the class test, and so it was confusing. So this time I called it class test, share with Diana, because when I just made it, it arrived just now. So now me, another side of the world, or in this case, in Santa Barbara, but somewhere else, I hit the word subscribe. Dagmar invited you to join. Yes, thank you, join. Right? So now I have joined, and she created an album that I can now see right here. So this is a photo that she had on her phone, okay, on her computer, and she shared this photo with me. All right, so that's what's happening. Now, I'm gonna, oh, you didn't see the whole window. So here's my photos, and here it is. Now you see in my shared albums, I am seeing this album, which is not mine. It's hers, and she's sharing it with me, but I can click on it and see it, and I can add photos. So I can go ahead here and say, well, I want to share this photo with you. And I threw it in there. So now if she looks at her photos, she would see her photo and my photo in there. It might take a second to arrive. Okay, now I'm going to finish what I had started by sharing my phone, because now I'm going to swipe up. I'm going to add in my phone now. I'm going to choose a photo here that I want to share with her. I want to share this photo of this plant. So I'm going to go to my share albums, and I'm going to add it to a shared album. And here I have share to the class test shared with Diana. Okay. And I'm going to say post. So now from my phone, I have shared a phone to that same album. So now if I go to my computer, there it is. My class test share has the photo I shared from my phone, the photo I shared from here, and the photo that Dagmar shared. And if we now, can you share your screen now, please, Dagmar?
Can I share my screen again?
Yep. Last time, well, I don't promise that it's the last time, but last time with the shared album conversation. And now there it is. If you look at, this is Dagmar, some other part of this place, and she has received 2 photos from me, one from my computer and one from my phone, because I put them in the shared album that she and I are sharing. Does that make sense, you guys? Now, when she created this album, she gave me permission to add photos and delete photos, okay? But if you can also say, no, I just want you to watch. I don't want you to be able to delete them, because you might not want them to, maybe you want a specific amount of photos there and that's it. But if they want, maybe you want to, I'm thinking right now, how many times have you had people, oh, maybe you guys aren't of that kind, but I have kids who, they do not want to see their photos of themselves on Facebook. And my husband takes pictures and puts them on Facebook. So I can imagine how he can have a little folder called, can I put it on Facebook, kind of question mark. And then whenever he wants to put a photo of the kids on Facebook, that photo album could be shared with my kids, and he can throw it in here, and the kids can go up and go, yes, no, by deleting the ones they don't think can be on Facebook, and then leave only the ones that are okay to be on Facebook. I'm just thinking of ideas that our family isn't doing, but hey, why not? Because then they might have a say whether the photo can be or not on Facebook. It's just a thought, right? It's a way of having different people interact at a long distance. In my case, I have an album like this with my friends. Thank you. I'm going to stop your share right now, but I have an album with my friends in Argentina, and we put photos of our kids or stuff just in there. Like, we don't necessarily want to put it on Facebook, because our little group of 6 friends that we went to high school with, we just throw in photos there of, an award my kid won, or a photo of us on the vacation, or it was yesterday's birthday for one of them. She put in a photo of her blowing a cake, and it's a little share album that's just for us 5. So we're not like needing social media for some. You don't want to put everything on social media. So that's my example of a shared album. Yes. What's the question?
So if the case is that there are people who don't want their picture be seen like in Facebook, what could I just maybe just crop that person from the photo and still post?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's completely up to you or that person.
Oh, okay.
But if the photo is of, like the other day, my youngest son was fishing, and he loves to fish, and he caught a really nice fish, but he didn't want his dad to put the photo on Facebook. You can't crop him, what's left of the picture, right? So
Yeah.
meaning, but yes, if it's a group and some people don't want to be in it, that's different. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So that's how to share albums. From right now, I showed you how to create a shared album from your computer with Dagmar, how she shared it with me, and then how on my phone, I added something, and I also added something from my computer to that shared album. Now, Dagmar can decide, well, I don't want that photo of that kid on the armchair, whatever. I only want nature in this thing. So she can go and delete that photo. And it's only in an album. It won't delete my real photo. So I'm going to share my screen now, because I'm going to start talking now more specifically about albums, which is why I wanted to come back to the computer. This is an album. An album is a collection of photos, but it doesn't actually touch the real photo. So this photo that's here, the middle one, if I look at my library, is taken, I don't know, let me see the details. It's November 4th, 2015. It's in here in that date, yada, yada. It's image 84787. Anyway, that's the photo. This is the real thing. If I delete this one, that photo is gone from here, from my phone, and from the cloud. But I put that in this album, and that album is just a pointer to that photo. It isn't the photo itself. Okay. So if I delete something from this album, it won't delete the photo. On top of that, in this case, I won't even delete it, but I'll ask you, Dagmar, can you go to this photo in your shared album with me? Can you select this photo and delete it? Select that photo and delete it, and then see how long it takes for it to delete for me. Tell me once you've deleted it.
Deleted.
It's been deleted. Okay. So now I'm going to, there it is. You saw it delete for me, but she deleted it, not me. But if I go back to my library, I still have that photo. She just didn't want it in this shared album. It didn't fit our idea of this album. But see, photos deleted from albums just lose their organization. An album is just an organization of photos in one way or another, but it doesn't delete the photo itself. And a photo can be organized in many different ways. I could have had that photo in here, sharing it with Dagmar. I could have had it in an album called Photos of My Family. I could have it in another album called, and Now This Is Real. I have an album in my real photos. I have an album of weird positions that my son sleeps in, because over the years, my son, my youngest one, who is now 15, we have ridiculous photos of him sleeping in the most bizarre positions and situations. And so it's a constant that I actually have an album where every time we find another photo, to this day, he's 15, and he will fall asleep almost, head down, he will do weird stuff. And so we just throw it in that album. That's a kind of example of what an album can be. The computer will not be able to search for photos of Joaquin sleeping in a weird position. Plus, a lot of the times Joaquin in such a weird position, you don't even see his face. So even looking for photos of Joaquin won't pick him up. So that's a perfect example of what you could create an album. Photos that the keywords, the searches won't find, or not the keywords, the automatic searches or the people or the places won't find, but that my brain can tell me that I want to find later. So that's the perfect example of an album. So let's create an album. I'm gonna head over to albums. There's so many different ways to create albums. Right now, under my albums, if I flip this open, I might have nothing or a lot. Some of you, we saw already, Dagmar has a ton. I know Yolanda has a ton. I don't know, maybe you have none. Maybe it's empty under my albums. I have no idea what you have in your albums right now. I have two. I have a smart album and a to be edited album. We'll talk about the smart albums later. Right now, we're going to make this kind of album, which is an album that you call whatever you want to call it, and you put in whatever photos you want to put in them. So I'm going to make a new album here. So I'm going to go to the word my albums, and I'm going to click on this little plus sign. So everyone, when you click on that plus sign, you can make an album, a smart folder, or a folder. We're going to make it just an album. Just an album means that I have to manually fill this album up with photos. So I'm going to click on just the word album, and I'm going to call this one Strange Sleeping Positions, right? Which I know it happens to be Joaquin. So I've created an album. It's empty. There's nothing in it. It's a thing called Strange Sleeping Positions. So now you guys go and create an album with something that you know you need for your photos. Of course, you probably will not have an example called Strange Sleeping Positions, because I doubt anyone else has crazy kids that sleep weirdly like my son. But you might have, birds, red cardinals, or whatever you want. I'm giving by Dagmar's example. Go create an album, an empty one, meaning one that still has nothing in it. There's many ways to create an album. So this is the most basic. It's things that you want to organize. You want to organize the photos of your trip with the girls, or family reunion, or you want to have an album with Christmas with the grandkids, or whatever you want to write in there. Make an album of something. Now, let's go to our library and look for photos that fit the bill. So when you scroll up and down, go, oh, there you go. Look at that. Here's a photo of a strange sleeping position. So I'm going to put that in there. I'll just grab it and I'll just drag it in there and let go. That's it. That photo still exists in my library. It does not disappear from my library. But when I click on strange sleeping positions, there it is again. So now it's not, this is important. I have not duplicated it. I do not have 2 of this photo nor 3 of this photo. I still have the one photo that is in one album. What if I want to edit it for some reason? Well, I can also drop it in the to be edited it. And so when I go to be edited, there it is. Maybe I want to, I don't know, change the color of the couch. I'm just inventing. This one doesn't necessarily need to be edited, but I would just show you how I can have it in one album and in another album. I can have it in 10 albums. And then when I go, oh, I don't really need to edit this one, I can select it and go, "Mwah, mwah, mwah." So I'm going to select it and hit delete like Dagmar did with mine. It deleted from this album, but it's still in this one. And it's still in my library because that's the one I don't really want to delete. Okay. That's the one that matters. That's the actual. So now I still have it in just one album. Now, if I go to my library and find something else that fits the bill, I don't know that I have many other of him in this album because I have so few photos of him in the strange sleeping position. I probably did not put more than one. So that'll be an album of the one and only photo. Probably I'll scroll. Yeah, I didn't put any more in here, although I assure you I have hundreds. Hilarious. Okay, so that's an album of one. Now, do we need albums of one photo? In this case, I would have had more, right? But if you do have one photo that for sure you want to separate and isolate from everything, oh, here's another one. Joaquin upside down. So that is him. This is a little ottoman. This is a pillow. This is his head on the pillow. This is him truly upside down. This is another example of him. I know him. So there it is. Now I have two. There we go. I have two photos of him sleeping in weird positions. Here he was younger. He's probably, 4 years old, and here he's 76 years old. So these are two photos of him. Okay. So now I have two photos in there. Now, in real life, this photo is from 2013. This photo is from 2015. In real life, where I have 10,000, 20,000 photos per year, these would be so far apart that I wouldn't be able to quickly find them. But every time I insert a photo here of him sleeping weird, if I just grab it and drag it in there, then when I click on this, I have 15 or 20 photos of him over the years in weird sleeping positions. Does that make sense? How helpful it would be to have separated it from the crowd, so to say. Yeah. So you want to do that. Hand drag things in there that fit the concept, so to say. All right. So that's one way of making albums. Before I continue with other ways of making albums, any questions? Something that did or didn't work?
Yeah, when I dragged some in, I got a lot of duplicates. How do I get rid of the duplicates?
I don't think, let me just show you just to clarify. If I drag this one in again, it doesn't duplicate it. It knows it's already been there. So if you put it in there and it accepted it, let me say 1 second, then it might have been that you had that same photo under a different metadata or name. And so when you put them there, now you see them as duplicates. So that means you have two of that photo. Okay, because, and I'm just gonna demo what I mean. If I try to put this one in there again, even though it says plus, when I let go, see it goes, whoop, see how it went back? It didn't it didn't get swallowed because it's basically saying, no, I'm already there. Say that this got in there, it swallows it in. It didn't send it back. That's because it accepted it. Now it was wrong, so I'm going to delete it. But if it's truly the same photo that I put in there, it goes, and it goes back. So now I'm going to have you share your screen to find out how come you got doubles in there, but they probably look like doubles, but they must not have the same metadata. Let's see. Going to share your screen.
I think.
Can I chime in for a second? I had the same problem last night when I was dragging them from folders into albums. Sometimes I got doubles, or other times I got triplicates, and I had to erase a lot of them. Okay, so let's go see what's happening in her case. Can you make yours, can you grab the left side and make it a little bit bigger so we see it a little bit more? Well, no, you probably have me on Zoom on the other side. It's okay. All right, so show me the photo that you said that got doubled.
Well, all of them. This person, Susan Oak,
Did you make a folder called Susan Oak?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Under friends. And I
Uh-huh.
got her face, I typed in under search her name
Okay,
and
great. And then you made an album with all the stuff that showed up.
yeah,
Got it. Which is, yeah, there's just a typo there. That's why this time it's not working. Let me just say, okay. I got it. I got it. Go ahead and say cancel to that and go back to your album. Let's look at all those duplicates. So just click on that X so that it disappears and go back to your album. Two things I need to say about this. First of all, it's fine that you made an album with the name Susan Oak, but I just want to caution you that it's unnecessary, because if you want to see photos of Susan Oak, you have them under people. Just go to people and click on Susan Oak, right? Not that you shouldn't make an album for it, but that's the whole point of albums. Now, you may have so many people here that it might be harder to find Susan Oak. You might want to click. But at this point, I just want to say that to have an album with a person's name isn't necessary. Yeah, that's Susan Oak. Go ahead and double click on it. And here you go. This is showing you all the photos of Susan Oak, right?
Oh.
Just saying. But let's go back to that album and let's start searching. Since you made it, let's go for it. Click on that Susan Oak album. And let's try and see whether those truly are duplicates. Now, I am seeing some of them truly are, and some of them might look like duplicates, but they might not be.
right.
But if you look at the file name, so you just pointed to two down there, image 0119 and image 0119. Now, let's click on one and let's look at its info. So go open the info window or say Command I. That's right. Just say Command I. You have a window so tiny that you're not seeing the little I. So just say Command I. Okay. So so now I need to make your window a bit bigger for me to see better. Okay. So now move this over a little bit to the side or above so we can see the two photos, like a little bit higher or to the left. Okay. It's okay. No, leave it on top of the photos. I just wanted to have it just not covering the actual photo. So you have to go from the word info to move it. Go up to the word in, like up higher and drag it over again. I just wanted to not cover the two photos we're looking at. Yeah, okay. So now this one is called, now we're looking at the one on the right. Okay, see how it's got a little selection on it? This one, if I look at the metadata, this is what's showing me is the metadata. It says July 20, 2009, 2:51:59 a.m. No camera information, but it has a size 27 by 30, says 66. Okay, good. Now, go ahead and click on the one on the left and see if anything changed. Ooh, see how things changed? Move this up a bit. Move it up higher a little bit. So like group, grab this whole info and move it on higher. It has different metadata. In fact, the time is different. This is 2:33:21.
And it says duplicate.
Okay, so but that you wrote duplicate on it because you have an
Oh.
album that you made duplicate.
No, I didn't write it though, but it got duplicated.
No, but that's you. You told me the other day you didn't have keywords, and we went to look at your keywords. We discovered you did have one keyword called duplicate.
Oh, okay.
So it's something you made. Okay, so now go down to the two photos. Everyone keep your eyes on the info window. Keep your eyes on the info window. Beyond the fact that one has location and the other one doesn't, look at the time of this one. It says it's 2:33:21 p.m. Now go click on the one on the right. This one says July 20th instead of July 8th, and it says 2:51:59. So the computer does not consider these the same photo. Does that make sense?
Okay.
The metadata is different. Now, again, this is such an old photo, 2009, that again, go back and forth, and you'll see how the other one said July 8th, 2009 at 2:33 in Cambridge versus the one on the right says July 20th at 2:51, and it doesn't say where. That, as far as the computer is concerned, means that these two photos are different. So when people see that they have duplicates and they wonder what's happening and how come I have duplicates, somehow or another, the metadata is different enough that the computer does not consider them the same photo. Now you have a third one. I see right there, like kind of kitty corner a bit higher up. That looks like the exact same photo again, even though the file name this time is different. But in this one, the file name is different, but it does say July 8th, 2009, 2:33:21 p.m. So in fact, this one is identical to the first one. Does that make sense? Except for the file name. So you have this photo 3 times. Now, why did these things happen? First of all, this is typical of photos that are really old, because when all of this started, metadata was a bit more messy. And when you copied photos down, sometimes it took some metadata, sometimes it took to another. Also, in the past, when you guys used the iPhoto, me too. When I used the iPhotos program, which I know Dagmar had a ton of photo events from when it was, this used to be iPhotos years ago. This program used to be iPhotos. Every time you upgraded an iPhotos to another version, it tended to create duplicates because it stored the metadata differently. So this is possibly a program created by iPhotos. It might be an iPhotos problem where it had the problem of creating duplicates, and people really hated that. And I have my old albums. I had a ton of duplicates in there because of that. Ugh, and I hated it. Now, when you look at these photos now, the problem is still persisting, right? It's persistently there. That doesn't mean that there's an easy fix, because as far as the computer is concerned, these are 3 different photos. Our eyes tell us they're not. And sometimes it is clearly slightly different, and thus we were the ones that were mistaken. Maybe and one, the eyes are half closed, or another, but no, these, if you look at them, they're clearly the same photo. And when you look at the details, they kind of semi-match each other, right? So what solution do we have? So if I select these 2, because I know that they're the same, all 3. So I selected all 3 right now. I click on one, I hold down the command key, click on the other one, and then click on the third one. So now I have all 3 selected.
Ready to go?
I know that these
All
are the same photo. The computer doesn't. If I have up to edit,
All right, sounds good.
there was a place, I believe, that we could merge. I'm trying to remember. Was it consolidate? I believe this one is it. I'm going to test this, okay? I hope it's on to reference file in Finder consolidate. No, these are already in the library, so that wasn't the word. That doesn't do it. I don't, there, there's not, this is the only problem that is not easy to fix.
So should I just go in and take out 2?
Hold on, yes, but I'm trying to see when you can distinguish them. There was a place where you could join the metadata, and I'm trying to see if I can find it.
It says refer to original.
Duplicate, remove. Yeah, I'm not, there was one thing that helped, it helped change the metadata. Yeah. Yeah, it's not, yeah, it must be another app. So anyway, right now, these 3, all you can do, and this is horrible, but really all you can do is identify them yourself, compare the metadata, see which one is more correct. See, this one says it's an Apple iPhone, and this is the important part. When it has these weird long names like that, like, see all the name this one has? That one was sent by text to someone or received by text. Maybe it's in your text, maybe someone sent it to you by text. And when you attach a photo and download it from a text, it comes in with one of these bizarre long strings of numbers. So that's why we know this one was texted, either you to them or them to you. It says Apple iPhone 1200 by 600, size 975. Why does this matter? That number 1200 pixels is how many pixels this photo has. If I click on this one, it's showing me 270 by 360, 76 KB. This is a much tinier photo, much tinier photo. This I could never print. This one I could print. If I click on this one, this big one shows me the big information, 1200 by 1600, and it's big. So I don't want to willy-nilly click on delete any one of them. I want to delete the ones that are tiny, like this one, because this one is almost the same as this one, but it has no information. So maybe it was emailed small. So this one's the one to get rid of, right? So of these two, get rid of this one. So hit the delete key. And then of these two, they have the same information, but this one has that weird name that was texted. So this one is truly a duplicate except for the name. So now hit the delete on this one. And now you're left with the one, and it's the biggest one, the best quality one with all the information. So you've deleted it, so to say, intelligently by comparing them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But I assure you, when you go and use any of those programs that promise to help you delete duplicates, how many of you have bought some of those or downloaded some of those? Those programs do not do this checking thoroughly. And you end up losing photos or getting left with the one that has the smallest size or stuff like that. So I hate to say that for these old duplicates that exist from the past that are again and again there, sometimes the only solution is to, let me back up again. Sometimes the only solution is to do it by hand. So if you look at these two, they're not the same photo. Here he's looking one way, here he's looking the other way. So these are not the same photo. So that's not a problem. But that one and this one could be the same photo. And let me see. Let's make it bigger. Right. And let's look at the info. This is at 10 a.m., 370 by 270. And then I click on this one. It's May 4th, 240. See, these look like they're two. I'd have to see it big. And the eyes are kind of semi-closed. And then I look at this one, I'm hitting the space bar. It does look like the same photo, but they even have a different date. This says 2006, this one says 2005. So what probably happened is one of these two got, oh, here I have it again. And this one shows the camera information and a big size. See, so as soon as you see camera information and big size, you know that you're doing well, that this is probably one of the real ones. And that these were photos that got sent to someone, got texted to someone, got messed up with someone. So this is a good one. You want to keep that one. And you can hit the delete on this one. And you can hit the
Did you say you
delete.
can't open the door?
What's up?
Did you unlock it? Oh,
And this small one, you hit the delete on that one. So we're left with this one is the good one of those two.
no, okay.
And then, oh, you have it there again. And that is, that again has all the infos. Are these the same one?
On the outside of the good stuff.
Yeah, this is the same one, 1600, 815, 841. No lens information on this one, lens information on this one. This is the same size as that one. This is more accurate. Okay. But it says duplicate here because you marked it duplicate versus this one you didn't keyword it duplicate, but this is the one that has more info. So this is the good one. So you want to delete this one. So it's hard. It's a long process, but there we go. Now we delete that one and now you're left with only one of those. Phew. So you have one of these and one of those, but you have to basically compare. And then these two seem to be the same one. And this is the bad one because it has no lens information and it's small. So now you're left with only 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So it took a while, but we got down to the 3 important ones. Now you don't have the duplicates. But if you do that to everything, you kind of go crazy. Here you have 2 of them. Big one, see camera lens information, small one, see no camera lens information. This number is crucial. 3400 by 2300, that's how much information, like how many cells this photo has, how many pixels it has. This one only has 360 by 250. If you try to print this one in the future, you'll never be able to print it. So delete the small one. and leave the big one. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's
So-
really good information. That's
Yeah.
helpful.
So now you go down and do that to anything. It looks like the rest look pretty different. So there you go. So that's the best guess. All the automatic programs that do this, they end up choosing willy-nilly. They see three similar ones and you lose one and you don't really know which. If there's a really good program to do that, I have not found it yet. I have not trusted any of those yet. But it's hard when you have thousands of duplicates to do this, right? So at some point you need to say, well, are these 10 photos important to me? If they're not, delete any one of them and keep one. But when it's a photo that you care, then do this careful checking, and you see, now this is easy. You have this one and this one are the same one, but this one has all the numbers that came from text. Boom, don't even bother, just hit delete. You know that this one will be worse than that one. Does that make sense? Because when it comes in text, it already comes in. So there's some things that give it away that make it easier, and others, like if you've given them the name, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or phase 0, clearly someone has already given these names. So this has already been chosen or selected by someone else. And so thus you don't have, maybe by you, right? But at another point. Okay. Great. I'm going to stop my share. That said, as I said before, in the future, notice that albums by people might not make the most sense, only because you could have gone to people to find her. But if you go to people to find her, so I believe it was this one, and I double click over there to find her. So I'm going to, you need to, it doesn't, I can't double click on when I'm doing remote control. Can you double click on this one to open it up? Okay. So when you click on somebody to find her under people, then here it shows you like a little set of them. And if you want to see them all, because you don't want to miss a single one, then watch, go up a bit again. You go to the show more right there. Click on show more. You see that?
Yep.
Go click on that. Click on show more. And now it shows you all the photos of that person. So in reality, this is the same as that search that you did before and you created an album. So you're duplicating some work. Does that make sense?
So I can get rid of that, huh?
Well, you can get rid of the album and use this, but you might want to still have an album to, if you have like 100 or 2,000 people in here, then it might be easier to just have a folder with 3 of your best friends. But if you're going to, another way to distinguish her, go back up here on the people. Another way to distinguish her amongst others might be if you give this little heart a click, and then she goes up there. So she's easier to identify from the hundreds of others people. And if you go, well, okay, I've handled her. Now I know I've deleted all the duplicates. You just undo the little heart and she goes back into the pile of people. Okay. So she didn't disappear. She just kind of went back down there. And that's all you do. But you have so many people that it might be, and so she went to the bottom of the pile. See there? Because I'm kind of done with her, so to say. Now, and then you have other photos. All right, now it's time for a break. So I'm going to show Dagmar again how to join 2 different people that have the same name, that we did it with Yosef last week. So if someone wants to take a break ahead of time, I'm still going to give 15 minutes break. But if you know how to do this and you don't need a review, you can go ahead and leave. But I'm going to first show her how to do it, and then I'm going to start the 15 minutes. So check on the chat when you come back what time I call the 15 minutes to start, okay? If you don't need to see this part again. But if you need to see this part again, then hang out for a minute. So I did it with Yosef right there last week, right? So the little boy in the middle of the top, if you can see that his name is written right here, it's written all in uppercase and Yosef. Okay. Now, yet last week we kept scrolling down, and over here we kept finding photos of Yosef under different names or different versions. So let's see if we find any more, or maybe we finished all of those. I don't see, do you see another little baby named Yosef? I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. It's so hard to see things so tiny. I don't know if you have now this under Zoom or not. Is this okay? Okay, this is a bit easier. So I'm not seeing any other Yosefs right now. But I think last week, we had seen a lot of this Gregory photo. Yeah, I don't see. So maybe we got rid of all the different multiple Yosefs maybe, but I don't know. Let's find
Well, why
Okay.
don't we try this one, Josh, and see what.
which one. Okay, point to it so I know who you mean by Josh. Okay, so this is Josh. Josh, no other name. Let's scroll down here and tell me what other photos do you see that are him? I'm trying to see if I recognize the same face. Oh, stop. I see another Yosef right there.
Yep.
There we go. So here's another photo that says Yosef, right?
Mhm.
So let's go ahead and click in here, delete this name and start writing Yosef again. And it's asking me, do you mean this Yosef, that Yosef? So I'm going to go for this one. Oh, but this is the same one. Let's go for this one, this Yosef. So it's saying, should I merge all of those with this one? Is it the same person?
Yes.
So all it took, let me just say again, is start writing his name again. And then it finds another one, that name. So I'm going to let you do it now. Okay, so I don't want to do it for you. Okay, so now you go and click in that name. In the name. In the name. Okay, back off, back up again. Click on the name, just the name. Yep. And now delete that name and start writing Yosef again. This one's a little bit harder because you have it with the same name, right? So Yosef. So now click on the top one.
Oh,
That one is itself. That one is itself. So click on that one. It had the same little icon. So right and click on the other one. Okay, now click on the top one. Last week we had like 8 versions of Yosef. So now you say merge photos and there you go. So now that Yosef disappeared and
okay.
it's merged into the other Yosef. And then when we find another one, we'll keep merging until we're down to just the one Yosef, if we find another one. Meanwhile, we're looking for Josh. Do you see any photos that look like Josh? See, when it's about looking like, I can't help you there. I can only read. Okay, I'm seeing many Meiras. Is that possible? Have I seen Meira a few times now or not? This one here, I thought I saw the name Meira a few times already. Let's see. Let me see if I'm right. I'm going to click on the word Meira here. And I'm going to see if I write it in M-E-I. Nope, I guess you don't have her anywhere else. So I'm going to hit escape and leave. So maybe I was wrong. I thought I had seen her name somewhere else. Maybe not.
No, I think that's right. I think there are.
Well, there it says Rosenberg, but it's got the
That's
same
person.
photo. Okay, so then click on the one that says Rosenberg there, if that's the same person.
Oh, it didn't merge, didn't.
It didn't. So click again. Maybe it unclicked because I was handling my mouse at the same time. So go click on that again and start writing Meira. Okay, now click on that.
That one?
Yeah. Huh. I'm wondering, do you have her up on top? Because you can also merge two people by selecting the other one that says Meira, but no. We just need to find another one that says Meira. I don't see another one that says Meira right now. Maybe we already did that one yesterday because that sounds like something we did last week. Okay, so you basically need to find somebody that has many versions. So I'm looking at,
Here's another one.
there's another one, Meira Rosenberg. Okay, so let's click on that name and, oh, yes, just start writing Meira, M-E. No, but see, it has to, you have a D in front and the, yeah. And then you have an uppercase M, go and do uppercase M because the other one was written with uppercase M, the one that we saw on the bottom. And now it's probably going to join it to the bottom one. Yeah, click on that. No, the top one. And now it's gonna put, is this the same person as that? Merge photos. So now they are only one.
Okay, I understand now. Okay, makes sense.
Okay,
I can
all
do
right. Basically, you need to give them the right name, spelled exactly the same way as another one that is in existence, and then it joins them. But if it's spelled differently, you just kind of end up creating a new name for it, and that's it. So, all right. The ideal is that in the future, if you find someone called Maida, like if you find a photo of Maida that isn't labeled, when you type the name, to not create a new name. Do not create like M. Rosenberg, because then that looks like another person. Just when you start putting the name, go and select from the existing names, and then it'll join them.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let's go to your library for a second. So I'm going to stop for a minute. Let's invent that this bird here is Maida, okay? Or this person, because it's a human, so that's a bit easier. I'm going to double click on it. So it looks for a person, right? Well, this one has a name, Ezra, so I'm looking for a person that doesn't have a name. Let's see, do you have any people that have not been named? How's this one? Nope, that is Yosef, okay.
Oh, but that's one that's got the wrong spelling, see?
Oh, you're right. So go in there, get into that Yosef, click that name. This is a perfect example. Click into that name. Put your mouse, yeah. And now write uppercase YOS. Okay, and see, for some reason, the one that keeps appearing is this little baby Yosef, but just join it with this one. So instead of keeping writing the name, then you create a new one, select one that exists, and at least you keep joining them to that one. Yeah. And now that one will have joined all the others that we're joining under that name. We need to find that one little Yosef. He's down there. We just haven't seen this little face, so we can join him with the top one, right? But at least now we know that this is joined to the other ones that have that name. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. When you click on a person, so do you have anything that's not named? Are you so organized that you've named everyone?
Well, I've
It could be.
I've been working on it. That's
Good. Well, that's awesome. Let me, in which case, then good. Then you're doing good. I can't. So this Yosef there has the uppercase, but I know that there's a Yosef somewhere here. That's that little baby Yosef photo that we saw many times. We need to find it. When we find it, we can join it with the top one. Or maybe we should join that one. Let's go to that top one. And I do need to go give us a breaker. No, let's go to this one and let's try to write Yosef here. It was all lowercase, right? Yosef. And here it is. So let's join it to that one. And that was the right one. It is the same one because see how it had the same picture? It's just that it's showing up as, it's displaying as uppercase, but when you click on it, it's showing as lowercase. So that is the one.
Mhm.
So at this point, I think all your photos of Yosef are under Yosef. Last time you had like 25. Now, if you click, you have all these photos of him. And if you now want to confirm additional photos, click on that and it'll start searching and it'll say, is that Yosef? No. Nope.
I don't know. It
Not
could-
sure.
probably is.
Could be, right? Right, done. Those are the ones that found. Then when there's no more to review, we'll say done. And now you've added 3 more. And then in the future, as you add more photos, click on confirm additional photos again. And then let's see if it finds any more. Way down at the bottom, go down under the map. Yep, confirm additional photos, right up. Yep, click on there. And did it find any more? No, there don't appear to be any that the artificial intelligence can find right now. Okay, if later you find one and add it to it, and then it might go, oh, this person also looks like that. Well, then let me add 10 more. You know what I mean? And so there you go. All right. I'm going to stop your share. I did give break to everyone. I'm not sure how many stayed and how many left. And meanwhile, 3:13. So let's be back by 3. Writing it down. 28 will be 15 minutes, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So see you guys at 3. Hi, Tracy, by the way, we're in the middle of sharing when you showed up. So thanks for joining us. I'm going to see everyone. All right. Okay, I'm back. Is everyone else back? Somehow. Seeing what this. The iPad is still insisting on not charging itself, which is, I do not know why. Let me change cable. Still at 1%, which is better than 0, but it has not changed to, now I found a charger that works. So that cable must not be doing the job. I need to test my cables. Okay. All right, everyone back, you guys? Give me a sign of life with a little wave or a yes or a no or a party hat. And show me that you're there. Okay. Here we go. Now, let me share my screen. So I don't know how many of you stayed around to see all the work I did with people there. With Dagmar, but I did want to say that one thing that I haven't shown yet is that if you have, and I'm not going to necessarily teach you how to do this, but let me show you that if you have, let me share my screen in a larger way. This is more of a how to combine different applications. But if you have, say, in your contacts, in your computer, say that you have someone in your contacts, right? So if I find a person that's in my contacts, and that's the ideal thing of all the applications connecting to each other, right? So if I go to people, and if I go to my library, right, and I see a picture with someone that I haven't yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and let me see a picture, might have a person that I don't have, that I haven't named yet, right? Here we go. Here I have a photo that if I go ahead and look at the details of this photo, if I check on the info, looks like I haven't named, oh, I guess I had named this, it says unnamed, right? Now, if I click on this one, it says unnamed. If I click on this one, it says unnamed. This one, it figured out is Santi, and this one, it figured out that it's fucking. So in here, it's pointing to some more faces, and it wants me to name them. If I click in here and start naming this person a name that doesn't exist in my contacts, then I just write the name. So if instead this guy is in my contacts, and I'm going to start writing John. Now notice that when I write J, this is from my contacts. Anyone in, sorry, I start writing J. Anyone in my contacts that is with J, I could call the kid J. I call him Jack. It's not Jack. Call him Joaquin. But then I have a Jane Doe, a Jenny Smith, a Jesse Phillips, and a John Doe. Oh, here it is. He's John Doe. So these things that are appearing are people in my contacts. So then you don't have to rewrite their name or anything. If they exist, if these are family members and you have all their information in their contacts, the best thing is to call them by that name to distinguish that John from another John. So now I'm going to select that name. So now when I head over here, it just says John. But when I go to people, under this person, it says John. If I click and check with John, it will connect to, so say that I have another, let's go to another. I'm going to go again to library and find here. I'm going to go to that same photo. So I hit the space bar to make it get bigger. And now I want to call this person something, right? So when I hover over here, see that this is a different photo. It's similar, but it's not the same one. So if the circles don't appear automatically, not like before, then I can say plus right here, and I see all their names, right? And so I'll go ahead and say that this person here is John. So I'm going to start writing John, and it's going to go, well, is it this John or this one? If I call this one also John, right? Then now the computer is confused because it goes, John looks like that and like this. And because since I called it the same person, both of these people are now John. So I don't have a new person called John. I just have that under this face. If I double click, oh, at first it needs to update. It'll give me both their faces, and the computer's going to be like, whoa, I can't find this person because they look so different, right? So that's why it's important that you try to give them the right name from the beginning, or they get confused. This is the opposite of the problem that you guys had where you called the same person many different names. This is given one name to different faces, and then that really confuses everything. So I'm going to click out of that, leave that one out, and actually call her Isabella, which I do have an Isabella right there, and it is this person. So instead of writing, this is the important thing, instead of writing Isabella, see how I would have written it lowercase isa. Maybe I'll write it with 2 L's. If I write that, now I've made 2 people called Isabella. I have Isabella and Isabella. And you see how it is the same person? But instead of assigning by clicking on that name, I called her 2 different things. That was me. Now, when I went to look at photos of Isabella, if I double click on this one, I'll see that. If I double click on this one, I'll see that. So when I went back to that picture, if I instead, and I'm going to go back to the names, if I instead of calling her that Isabella, I had said Isa. So let me start Clay. I'm sorry. My mouse. If I had called her no, I didn't mean to do that. The name I wanted to do. If I had called her Isa, and then immediately selected the right name, instead of keeping on writing it, selected the right name, then it comes in and I go to people and it's 2 photos under Isabella. So now I have these 2 photos under Isabella. Okay, just these 2. All right, versus before, it had created another person called Isabella with lowercase I and 2 L's. All right, so try to select the name that shows up, and then it'll keep joining that first group. Don't keep writing the name Isabella and then maybe get a typo, or maybe this time I write Isabella Martinez, or maybe I write 2 L's, or I write 1 L. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about people. If they're in your directory, just choose that name, right? Like I did with this John guy. And anyway, whenever you see that it says this, right now it says people will finish updating with photos in the background. I have so few people, so few files that the computer's having a hard time finding stuff. Like it found it for these 4 because this is us 4, and I put photos of all of us. For these people, it can't find more. But for people who have a lot of photos, it also needs a lot of time to work when it's just sitting there being in the background. So leave photos open, right? But minimized maybe, and just keep working on your computer and it'll keep working on updating. For those of you who have a lot of photos, it needs to sit there and just work on updating all those names. Okay. All right. So that's all I wanted to say about people. Let's head back to distinguishing albums. So I'm moving this over. So now, what other ways can we make albums? Okay, so now I have the one that I made that was empty and I dragged 2 things into them. Another way to make albums is to first select things that I want to put together. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select, let me see, photos that I think are similar in nature. So over here, I have a bunch of different photos that if I want to see them bigger, I select one and hit the space bar. Okay, so now I'm seeing it bigger. And these are photos. If I keep going to the right with this arrow, like that, or if I keep going to the right with my keyboard arrows, just my keyboard arrows right now, arrow, arrow, arrow. These are all photos of my during Imaranari during the pandemic happened in people's driveways. So this is photos of my driveway during the pandemic with my son making a chalk painting. So all of this, all of these photos can go in one album, right? So what I can do is I can first select them all. And when you want to select a bunch that are together, you select like bookends, one of them, hold down the shift key, and then the last one, and everything in between will become selected. But what if there's one or two more out here that need to be added that weren't in a row? Maybe this one's also imaginary, and that's also imaginary. Then you hold down the command key and click on that and click on that. So now that's how with the command key, you can select or deselect individual photos. So maybe you have all of these in a row, but you didn't really mean to put two of these. So you hold down, select and deselect one of them because you don't want those two. Sometimes you have 20 photos in a moment and you really only want to put some in an album. Just because they're in a row doesn't mean you want them all in the album, right? But if you do, then you select them all and you put them in the album. But the command key helps you deselect or select individual ones, right? And the shift will take anything in between the two corners. All right, so now you have a bunch selected and here it's telling me 12 items, right? So now I go to the, I'm gonna have to show you the whole window. Close my contact. Now you can go with those selected. You can go up here, or you can go up here to the same place as before where it says my albums, that plus sign. But another place you can make an albums from, and then that's why I'm showing you the whole thing is up from up here. File, new album with 12 photos. So it's already selecting my 12 photos that I already have selected. So when I click on that, it made my album, it put my 12 photos in there, but now it needs a name. So now I can say Ima Bernardi. And then hit return or enter. And then that's created. So if you have a whole group of photos from one trip or something like that that you want to put together, that's an easier way to pre-select them. Instead, I would have had to go in and first make my thing and then select all of these. That said, as I told you before, I have other photos of Imaginary here. So as I go around over the years, I'll go, oh, look, here are 4 more. So now I'm going to select from here through here. These are another year that we were in our driveway the first year. And now that I selected them all in a row, now I grab one of them, it doesn't matter, and I drag them here, and I drag 6 at a time. So now when I go here to Marinari, now I have all of them from this year and from the second year. Okay, so when they're in an album, they did organize themselves automatically in order of date. This was 2020, this was 2021. Whereas here in the library, I cannot change that. If this was taken before or after, I cannot change its order. In an album, I can. In an album, I can say, oh, well, I want to start it with a photo of hands, and I can drag it there because this is my way of displaying it. And I want to mix the final product of this with the final product of that, or I want to here, let me put the book somewhere else, and I'll put the book over there, and I'll put the character, him making the stuff together. See what I mean? In the album, I can move things around to my heart's content. They don't need to sit in order of anything because this is my organization now. They will by default appear in order of arrival, so to say, but I can just, and then I can go, you know, this one's fine, but I don't really need it in this album. It's fine, but it doesn't belong in the album. So I can just select it and hit delete to that one. As I said before, the photo won't be deleted. It just won't be in this album. If I go back to the library, those photos are still there. And if I decide instead that I want it back in there, I just grab it and put it back in there. Now, notice that in the, here in the captions for these photos, I also have a keyword. That's because the other day I had created a keyword, but that's just me having created a keyword. It doesn't need to mean that it's all those photos. I could have chosen a keyword or an album. In this case, I'm going for an album. Now, this photo has a keyword imaginary. I can see it there already, but this one doesn't have the keyword imaginary. So if you don't put the keywords on the things that are right, then it won't. So this one says imaginary. This one, see that little icon there? It says imaginary. Let me go back to sharing just my one window so it's easier to see. This one says imaginary because I wrote keywords on these that say imaginary. It looks like I never did it to the ones in this year. So had I not given it the keywords, then I wouldn't have been able to find them had I searched for imaginary. So now this is another way to do it, is putting them in the album where I see them all together without having to do a search each time. So that was 2 different ways of creating albums. You create it ahead of time, or you create it by a big group of photos, and then you keep adding to it when there's more. I want everyone to create an album called To Be Edited, because next week we're going to be editing photos a lot, and maybe we might even begin now. Depends, I have some more to teach you first, but I want us to have the following. So this is one of those albums that you're going to create empty, right? So first go to my albums and make a little plus sign, choose album, and everyone make this album, please. Every single one of you guys make an album. And then under the title, untitled album, just write To Be Edited. And I'm going to write the number 2 only because I already have one already, and hit enter. Now I'm going to delete it because I already have it created. And let me tell you why I want you to have this in there. As you work with your photos this week or now, every time you come upon a photo that you think could be fixed in one way or another, just grab it and throw it in there. So I'm thinking this photo might be able to be fixed. Maybe it's a bit too dark, right? So maybe I can work on it. So I'll grab it and throw it in the To Be Edited. Same with this one. I'll put it in the To Be Edited. Maybe, you want to crop something and you want to be able to show it looking better. So I want to maybe show this bowl of soup, but I don't want it to have the microwave in there. I'll throw it in To Be Edited. So right now that's already in there. So I want you guys to put in photos in there that you want to work with. So I want to work with this one here. Maybe I want to play around with it. So put it in To Be Edited. Why is that? When we start editing photos, I'm going to click in here, and I already have a series of photos that I've already identified as needing work. And that when we start showing you how to edit pictures, you will have a group of photos that you're ready to work on. When I say, go find a photo that's too dark, go find a photo that's too light, go find a photo that the colors are kind of washed out, go find a photo that you want to crop, right? So you won't have to search for all your stuff. Rather, as you're working on your photos in between the week, you'll go, oh yeah, it's a good photo. God, I wish it were a bit more, throw it in the To Be Edited, and then ask me, can that be done? And then I'll tell you, yes, no, maybe. This photo is crooked. Okay, throw it in the To Be Edited. I'll show you how to uncrooked it, how to straighten it. All right. So like in this case, this photo has this weird black bar there that shouldn't be there. It's an illustration that my son made, but if I want to show it, I don't want that weird black thing, throw it in there. I'll show you how to crop it out, and so on and so forth. So that's just something that I want you guys to keep a running tab. Later, we're going to create an album that is going to show you any photo that's already been edited. And this is a smart album. And I'll show you more about that after we do edit stuff. But for now, we're going to leave it at that. All right. So notice that if I look at each individual album here, I click on imaginary, I see the imaginary photos. Stranger sleeping, I see the photos. It tells me how many photos. There's 2 photos. Here's this one has 18 photos. To Be Edited has 25 photos. But look what happens when I click on my albums. I see each album as one little icon, and I see there's 18 photos in here. So if I hover over it, move my mouse a little bit, see how it's kind of, I'm just moving I'm hovering, I'm not clicking. I'm just moving my mouse, and see how it's kind of showing me, it's kind of scrolling through a little bit. You see what I mean? and I'm just putting my mouse over it. There's one photo that's considered the key photo, and I can change which one I want to consider the key photo. I could right click in here and I can create, no, where's the key photo? Huh, it wasn't there. There used to be a way to choose the key photo. Let me just see if it's under manage. No, that's different. Huh. There used to be a way to create the key photo. Let me select this album and click on the info. No, okay, I'll have to figure out. There used to be a way that you could create the key photo, meaning the one that sits there, like demonstrating what that album is. Maybe from here. No. I don't know where it might be. They changed it. It was here before. Okay, you could choose which one you wanted to be your main photo for that album, but it's not showing right now, so I guess I don't know. Okay, so I'll have to relearn that. But if I hover over this one, there's only 2 photos. If I move my mouse, I go back and forth on these 2. But if I go over this one that's 18, it's kind of scrolling through the 18 without scrolling. Okay, my mouse is just hovering. That's it. I'm just moving it to hover. So you get a bit of an idea of what those 25 photos are if you're slow enough. It's slightly helpful, not too helpful. I guess if you were to make this bigger, it might be a bit easier to see what those photos are. I don't know. Now, before I continue, any questions about those and how they got made and how we add photos to them? Remember that if I drag a photo in and it kind of swallows it up, so to say, that means that it's good. So this is another Marinari photo right there. I'm going to drag it in there and it's kind of, it took it. But if I try to put it in there again, and you see it going back, that means it's already there. So that little physical thing tells you it's not that it's not taking it. This is another Imaginary. I'll throw it in there. Oh, that wasn't in there. How about this one? That wasn't in there. That's from another time. So as I keep adding them, it keeps accepting them. That means it hasn't been added there yet. In case you ever wonder, I don't know if it's there or not. We'll just watch and see if it swallowed it or if it spit it back out. Now I'm going to put it in there again and whoop, nope, that must have already been there. All right. Now I'm going to keep throwing anything that I see from Imaginary in there because I'm trying to build that one folder up bigger. And so here we go. That's it. I'm seeing that because I did that on purpose. I put many of the Imaginary photos so that there'd be photos in here. And here's another one of one particular thing so that I'd have something to show you a group of photos from. All right. So now I have one album with a lot of accurate, if you want. It's got 28 photos of a couple of different years. And as you can see, because of the age of the kid who's doing this, here he is as an older kid. Here he is as a younger kid. This is showing up in order of appearance. This is the last one I threw in here. This is the first one I threw in there. It doesn't matter what order. So if you want to put it chronological order, you're going to have to rearrange these things. Does that make sense? I'm going to have to put all these ones when he was younger up there because, or actually up at the top, because then, you know, it doesn't respect it. So I have to reorganize if I ever want to show this. Now, why would I want to reorganize these? What's the point of reorganizing an album? Because when you have photos in an album, so I'm going to keep throwing some of these last ones that I put in there up high because they're from earlier in his life. Why do I want to reorganize them? Because I can make a quick slideshow out of this. So I don't know if you guys stayed at the end of the class, last class, I believe. I don't even have all of the different photos of all the different ones he made, but that's about chronological-ish order. I don't remember exactly. But when I stayed until the end last week, someone asked me about a slideshow, right? So I went ahead and showed how to make one. So now I have kind of organized them in chronological order, kind of. And so now when you have an album ready to go, you could make a slideshow. It doesn't make sense to make a slideshow of 2 photos, but now I have enough photos here under Marinari. And I can show it as a memory or as a slideshow. That's what these 2 choices are up here. So I'm going to hit start a slideshow with the photos in this album is what it says in there, or show as memory based on this album. And they are 2 different creatures. Show as slideshow shows them all. So I'm going to click on that one first. Click on slow as slideshow. And it's giving me the choice if I want to use one version or another. Are you hearing the music, by the way? No. Is it just in my ears? Because I have headsets? No one's saying yes, so you're not. It's giving me a choice of music and a choice of themes. What it means by themes is how are they going to transition? So classic, they're transitioning one into the other. If I choose that I want them to transition as origami, then it's showing them like a little pattern. See how they're folding into each other? Or I'm going to go, no, I want to show them as vintage prints. So it's showing me a sample of what it would look like as vintage prints. So say that this is what I want it to be. I can also say, well, I don't like the music it comes with. You guys can't hear it, but it comes with the music. And I can choose another music. I'm going to leave the music as is, and I'm going to now say, okay, ready, play slideshow. Are you seeing the slideshow?
Yes.
Okay, I just don't know because of what window I shared. But this is filling my screen right now, and it's got music. And it's showing me the photos one by one in this mode called classic, where all the photos in the bottom that are black and white are the photos, but these are the ones. And the reason I put them in order is because now they're showing them in order of the age he was when he did all these drawings. Does that make sense? Had I not organized my album that way, then this would be showing me photos that are all disorganized in age range. In this case, the date mattered because I said it mattered, not for any other reason. And it's showing me different ages of photos. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
we're not
I'm gonna-
hearing, the only thing, we're not hearing any music, but I.
Yeah, because I have headsets, it's probably like if I took the headsets off, it'd be playing in the house and it would be picking it up, but it's only picking it up in my, oh, I said stop share was a mistake. I didn't want to stop share. I wanted to stop the slideshow. Okay, so over here, I can stop it, pause it. I can go back, front, or I can just close it with that little X. And now I've closed and I need to actually reshare my photos. Okay, so go to one of your albums that you've made and try that slideshow feature. Now, let me say this slideshow feature doesn't let you save it as a slideshow. This is just good if, say, you want to show someone who came to your house or on your phone a slideshow. But this is not the same as making a slideshow out of it, which you can then share out to the world separately. This is just, hey, people are coming over to see the photos of our last trip. Okay, organize them really quickly and then click slideshow and have them stand in front of the computer or share this to your television and show them the photos of your trip. Okay. The first time I experienced it, I think I repeated this in this class a few times. I went to someone's Christmas party once. I didn't know this could be done. And we walked into their house and it was a Christmas party, food on the table, this and that. And their whole living room was one humongous TV. Instead of a black TV sitting there while the party was happening,
Awful.
they were sharing a slideshow of just family photos, I guess, over the years or something like that. So in the background, you saw just photos sliding through with a little bit of Christmas music, and it was just the background to the gathering. And that's it. It was, instead of having a big black, it was one of those small living rooms with a humongous black TV that was a whole black wall. This was a bit more pleasant, right? So that's what was happening. It was one of those kind of things. So did everyone try a little slideshow with one of your albums? Yeah, so I want you guys to try it. If it worked and you see it, you hear it, it's good, give me a little yes. If not, I can help you figure out how to get it done. Now,
Yeah.
what's up?
Diana, so in
Yes.
one of my albums,
Mhm.
I have like my line dance friends,
Mhm.
but the one there is already one with the music that somebody that I had handed my camera, my iPhone, had recorded. So I don't really need to change the music, except that if I wanted to kind of like shrink it to it's 0.44. I think that's too big. I think that's taking a lot of my.
Yeah, but stop for a minute. As I said, this isn't a created slideshow that exists as a file, which is what you're talking about that someone made. This is just playing your album as a slideshow. That's all that is. The problem or good or bad news about this is that then everything that's in your album is going to be part of that slideshow. And maybe you have more things in that album than you really wanted. Maybe you only want, maybe you have 200 photos in this album of the wedding, but you'd rather have only 50 showing as a slideshow. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then you create an actual project down here. Someone's got like something in the background playing, so mute yourself unless it's you, Yolanda, who is speaking to me. So you create a project called a slideshow. And by the way, I'm going to delete that one because I gave this example last week. And so now you create a slideshow that you choose. So say that I have all these different imaginary photos here. Say that I had an album with 200 photos of imaginary. If I had my real photos, I would have every imaginary photo in here. I might have 500 photos of imaginary over the years, right? How about I want to choose a select 10 of them for a little slideshow, right? So I can't then play the whole album as a slideshow because then all 200 photos will run. But what I can do is I can create a little slideshow here as my project. Okay. And so let's do that. Let's select from a big album. This is as big as mine is going to get. Let's select the top, whatever many photos. So I'm going to have that one. I'm going to hold the command key and I'm going to show that one, like one of each design, which I don't have them all, but here we go. One of each design, which is those 10. I'm going to choose one of this one and one of this one. And then I'm going to have this photo as part of it. Okay. So now I have one of each, which means I've only selected 12 photos. Yeah. So now I've selected 12 photos. So I don't want the entire album. I only these 12. So I go to my projects. I have selected 12. I go to my projects and I click on this plus sign. So everyone go and select 5. It doesn't matter, just a few of something. And then let's hold over to my project, click the plus sign and what are we creating? And I'm going to create a slideshow with these photos. Okay, so go to the plus sign and choose a slideshow with these photos. And what do you want to call it? I'm going to also, it's the same name as the slideshow. So I'm going to call it imaginary select kind of thing. Just to create a slideshow. And I'm going to say, yep. And I'm going to say, okay. So now here, this is what Yoli you're talking about. This is a slideshow that I really get to create and choose and that I can share with others. I can send this to my mom. I can send this to you guys. You don't need to be on my computer with me connected to my TV. You know what I mean? This is an actual slideshow I can create and share. First of all, it comes in automatically in the order in which the photos were in my album. So I actually would like this photo here to be at the beginning. So I'm going to grab it and drag it all the way to the front so I can choose the order. I also, this is the place where I have the title. So maybe I don't want Imaginary Select, which is the name of my thing. Maybe I want to put a better title in it so I can call it Imaginary. And then maybe I want to type 2000, I don't remember what the first one was, 2000, I don't know, 6 through 2022. I'm inventing, I don't remember when the first one was, right? So that's the title of the show. Then it shows this, and maybe I went to, you know, this one needs to be fixed, and I show maybe two of these were in the wrong order. So I'm going to put one in front of the other. So I think this one went in front of that one. I don't know, right? You reorganize them, or you go, ooh, this one wasn't really that good. I'll move this one somewhere else. Or maybe you want to add one. Maybe you go, oh, shoot, this one wasn't in the right. Maybe I forgot one of some kind. So you go over to the album and you go, maybe I should have one that shows him doing the drawing, the beginning drawing. Okay, so let me add this one. So watch what I'm going to do. This one is not in the album. I'm going to just drag it and drop it in there. Boom. I dropped it in there. So now that one just dropped in. It dropped in as the first one, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to grab it and move it because I really didn't. I wanted it more like the second one. So I'm going to put it there. So now this one's back to being the first one. And then the second one is the process. Okay. So now I have a better idea of how this one's going to go. And now I want to preview it. So I hit this little preview. Oh, I need to start from the beginning. I'll preview it. And I'm hearing the music. You guys can't, but I'm beginning to see the slideshow. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stop the preview because maybe I went, oh, that's fine, but it's taking too long. I go over here to the timing and I want them to go a bit faster. So right now, my whole show is going to take, you know, it's taking a long time. So I'm going to move it, make it go even faster. Right. So it's only going to be a half a minute. So the slides are going to slide by a little bit faster, or is the other way around. I want this to take 6 minutes to show 13 slides. So I'm going to move it to really fast. So the whole thing is going to be only 26 minutes. The transition is going to dissolve. Maybe I want to change the transition to something else. Right now, I'll leave it in dissolve. And now I'm going to say, okay, preview. And now it should go much faster. There we go. Now it's going a bit faster. Phew. See how they're changing much faster now? Because I changed. Now I'm going to stop the preview. And so this little timer here gives me control over a bunch of other stuff. Maybe I want the photos to push instead of dissolve. And now let me preview that. Now the photos are being pushed out. Maybe I want to try uncover. So now I preview again. Now they're kind of uncovering, or reveal. Let's see what the reveal is. There's not much difference between reveal. Let me go with dissolve again and preview. I think I prefer the dissolve one into the other. So I'm just testing different things. Or I can push, but in a different direction, push down. Now preview. Now it's pushing down. Anyway, so you make choices like that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it in dissolve, which is my favorite. And then you can say scale photos to fit screen, so it's leaving this black. If you don't do that, then it fits the screen. It fills the screen. But then you can end up cutting things out because, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to do the preview. When you do that, it's leaving, in this case, the kid out here is leaving out the chalk painting, you know, so I don't recommend that. I would recommend that, but then you have the black space. All right, you can fit this. So if you have a song, you're trying to make a video to music, you say fit to music. So if the music is 10 minutes long, you will have these going round and round and round for 10 full minutes. This, on the other hand, makes it be as long as your slideshow. Okay. Or you can change the music over here, or you can change just the theme over here, which is, again, maybe I go back to, again, reflections, for example. And that's the theme. It's like the reflections would be this system, or vintage prints, you know, would be that whole background thing. I'm gonna keep it in Ken Burns, which is what it started as, and no, it wasn't. I think I had it under classic. All right, so here's the good news. When you're done with this and you like it, and you like everything that it does and it says and it shows, oh, looks like I lost my title. I lost my title when I changed to a different mode. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm going to add, selects this photo number 1, and I'm going to click the plus, and I'm going to add some text to it. And now I get to add again, Motonari 2005 through 2022. Or I can explain each one. Maybe I can go to this one and put text on this one that says this one is 2022, right? And then another one, I'll say this was text 2021. I mean, you can put in the name of the city you were visiting, right? Or whatever you want to do. So here's how you add text to it. All right. So now that you like it, you've tested it. So hopefully you guys have put 2 or 3 together, made a few of these changes, right? And this is just a test. So hopefully you've tried that yourself. Oh, I ended up with 2 title pages. I created a new one. Now you say, okay, people are not coming to my house to see these. This is my daughter's wedding, my son's graduation, my kids' imaginary selection. I want to send this out to friends, right? You want people to see this little slideshow that you've created. It's going to show in video mode to them. You won't be sending these photos to them. They're just going to see a little video that's going to be, in my case, let me go back to 35 seconds long. Okay, so that's the one that I'm going to be sending. So what do? We go up to this top here. So sorry, it says export. It's telling me Admirer Select is going to be 13 slides, 35 seconds long. I'm going to hit export. And it's going to go in the shape of a movie. They're going to get a little video. It's 35 seconds long. And Yolanda, this is the moment when you create it. So the person who receives it, you said someone sent one to you. You can't change it. They can change it. But what you're going to receive isn't a slideshow. Unless they did it on your phone or on your stuff. Maybe you can show me what you have. But right now, I'm not sending the whole project. I'm sending a little video that's going to be saved here under the movies. And, or I might want to save it somewhere else. I could say that I want to save it under my desktop or something like that. That's my choice. I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it on my desktop just so that it's easier for me. It's the opposite of what I do to people in my Mac class, but just to teach you guys, my desktop is something I can share with you guys. High definition is going to make it be pretty big on your screen, good quality. High definition, 1,000 pixels is going to make it fill a big screen. High definition 480 pixels is going to be smaller on screen. Now, what this means is that the file will be much different in size. This file size would be much easier to send than this one or than this one. But of course, this one you can share on a bigger screen, on a bigger TV. So it depends on what you want. You can see the size of it and decide if it's too big or too small. If you click this little arrow right next to where it said, probably said movie for you, I switched it to desktop. Click on this little arrow and then it'll show you. Make this a little bit bigger. Oh no, it's not showing me the size anyway in this case. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at this where it doesn't, you don't need to click on that arrow then. That's fine. Let's leave it at that. I thought you might see the size. So I'm going to make 2 different ones. I'm going to make a little small one and I'm going to make a medium one and a big one, and we'll compare the sizes. So I'll decide to make a small one first, and I'm going to call this one select _ 480 so that I can remember that this is a small one. And I'll say save. So it's going to export this file. I'm going to share my entire desktop with you so that you can see that there's a file here being created on my desktop now. That's this one. So this is an actual file that I can now share. They don't need to have my iPhotos in order to see it, versus we did need to have my iPhotos before to see it. The other one I could have shared on my iPad. If someone's next to me, I can go, oh, look how cute, like, or on my phone, but not send it to someone. So now on my desktop, I have this file that's telling me that 6.5 megabytes. Okay. I'm going to export it again. I'm going to go the other extreme way. Instead of doing all three, I'm going to go with the really high definition one and call this one 1080 and say save. It's going to take much longer, so I'm going to keep talking, and well, it's you know, it's bigger, so it's going to create a bigger file. So meanwhile, I'll answer, is anyone saving their own? Do a little export. Are y'all creating a little movie?
Not
Okay.
yet, because I want to listen and concentrate on what you're showing.
Okay, all right. So I want to make sure you guys practice. If not, when you're, you know, when you're at home later. But so I'm creating this export. All right. So look at how different in size.
Oh.
This one is 6.5 megabytes,
Mm.
and this one's 40 megabytes. Big difference. 6.5 megabytes, I can email it. 40 megabytes, I can't email it. Okay. 6.5 megabytes, maybe I can put in social media. 40 megabytes, probably I can't. Let me go and see what the middle one is, since we're at it. It didn't take as long as I thought it would take. Let me do the middle one, and then we call it 720. And say save. And so we'll be able to see the size of all three. Now, that's the size with 12 slides. If I had had 100 slides, it would be much bigger, right? If I had had 4 slides, it would be, or 6 slides, it would be half the size. So just remember, it all depends on how many photos you have and how long. Because if I had made this movie be 1.5 minutes, it would take much more video time than only half a minute's worth. Even if I only had 12 slides, but I made them last 2 minutes, the file size would be much bigger than 12 slides that I made last 12 minutes. Because the question is how long the video is, right? So here it's showing me 480 is 6.5. The biggest one is 40 megabytes, and the middle one is 20 megabytes, right? So here we go. Go by size. The biggest one, the middle one, and the smallest one. So this one I can't email. Usually you can email anything that's under, it's about 10 megabytes. So the only emailable one is the small one. If I try to email a bigger one, what's going to email is a link. And then you'll have to go and download it. Okay. So now, those are the 3 files that I have, and here they are. I've dumped them on my desktop, which again, when I teach Mac, I always tell people not to do that, but here's my example of the 3.
Diana,
Let me hide the rest and see how big they play. So you see how I have a big desktop, right? Give me a second. I'm going to double click on this one to play this one. And this is how big it plays. Okay. All right. Oh, what was their password? It's the school password. I hope I got it right. Yeah, I did. So, okay. So, that's really low res. I don't know why it's getting so big. Let me see. The problem is that it stretched it way out of proportion, and I know why it did that, why it made me go up to Apple TV. It doesn't play with Quick Player anymore. There we go. That makes more sense. So this is 480. In my screen, this is an example of 480. Okay,
Mm.
so that's the size it is. I'm gonna close it. This is 720, it should be bigger. It has higher resolution. See how things are sharper? And if you notice, the first one is kind of fuzzy. Now I'm gonna choose the highest quality one. And the hands are really sharp. The quality is the best. So I can make this really big and it still looks really good. If I fill my screen, you don't hear the music because it's my headsets, but this one I can make really big and the quality is really good. So I'm gonna stop it, but look at this one can fill my screen. And the quality of the hands is still really good. The small one, I'm gonna go to the beginning. Look at the quality of the hands if I make it really big. So I can only show it really small to have it look good. See what I mean? But if I try to show it big, see how fuzzy it is? Can you tell? I don't know if you can tell.
Yes, yes.
Quality is bad. So that means if I show it small, the quality is fine. So it's great for social media. It still looks good, right? But the big one, I can show tiny or really big and it still looks really good. Okay, so that's the difference between the three. At what size can you show them and have them still be looking good?
Diana.
Yes.
So this is coming from us, like I am the sender and my server can allow me to send the 6.5, but the one that is 40 will not. Now, do I need to be concerned also as the recipient? Will the recipient be able to accept this size?
Yeah, this is about the recipient because in fact, depending on what you use, different emails allow you bigger or smaller sizes. So maybe you can do 15 megabytes with one type, 10 with another, 20 with another. So the minimum most people accept is 10. So you want to go with 10. It could be that they could have received 20, but you don't know what kind of email they have.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to guess, but 10 is a normal for everyone. So in fact, I'm going to go ahead and compose an email to you guys and I'm going to send this to you guys now. So who's here? Let me see. Tracy, I'm going to send it to your pipeline emails. Okay. Norm,
Dagmar.
Dagmar, you guys are going to go with the first name because you're all same names. Annette. Who else is here? Mimi just arrived. But you're not under Mimi. What were you? Greenberg. You're under Mercedes. There we go. But I don't know because you have two different ones. Is the one with 2U or with one? Mimi just arrived. And then Linda. Carmen. There we go. So that's who's here.
Yolanda.
Mhm.
Don't forget me.
No. I'm going because I'm going by order of who I see top to bottom on my window.
Okay.
And Paul was here, so I'm gonna send it to Paul as well. He just had to step out. And Alan was here, so I'm gonna go for Gershow because he was here at the beginning of this. Okay, so that's who's been here and who is here now. All right. And I'm not sure, there's two Greenbergs, Mimi, so I'm not sure if you, oh, she can't hear me yet. She's still connecting to audio. There's Mercedes Greenberg 1 and Mercedes Greenberg 2. I'll send it to both. Okay, so this is my video. Link to my slideshow, but I'm going to say /video because you guys are going to see it as a video, right? And I'm going to go ahead and attach.
Why did you not sample the middle one? Because there were 3 choices.
I made 3. Right. So I'm going to put the smallest one here. So you guys, this is the one that's the lowest quality. So it's going to email just fine. Right. So here is test my smallest exported slideshow. And I'm going to send it to you guys. So that's going to go because that was only 6.5 megabytes. So it's tiny, quality wise. So you guys will be able to get it. Now, if I try to send the bigger one, I'm going to just send one to myself of the bigger one. So you guys can see what happens when I try to send the biggest one. And I put that one in here, which is this one. It says your file is larger. Oh, look at that. It would have allowed me for 25 megabytes. It went so fast that you didn't get to read it, but it said your file is bigger than 25 megabytes. So instead, we're going to send you a link. So it's sending this instead of the actual, you guys are actually going to get a file, an attached file that you can receive and play. So somebody go try, check your pipeline and open it up. And then when you get it, if you want to share your screen to see how it arrives. But me, I've sent one that's much bigger. So instead it's sending me a link. So I'm going to go ahead and send it to myself.
Diana, sometimes I cannot receive an attached file. Is there a way that a link instead of the attachment, like a link?
Yeah, so this one is going to show up as a, see, I've just received it to myself. I send it to myself. It says me, biggest one. And had you received this, you would have received this link as well, right? See, you're not getting an attachment here. It's a link.
Okay.
That you click on the link and it's going to go and ask you, okay, oh, it's processing still.
Yeah, we already.
Please check back later. So I can, but when it's done processing, because I just sent it, because I just uploaded it. So I can say download. I don't know, is it going to let me download it? Let me see. Or is it still looking for it? Yeah, it's downloading it. See it downloaded into my downloads folder. And now if I go look at my downloads folder, there it is. I was able to download it from a link. You see that? So I wasn't able to email the attached file. I was able to get a link that allowed me to download it. Versus you guys, did anyone go check their pipeline? Did everyone get it
Yes.
as an attachment? Yeah.
Mine is not attached.
Yes.
So you got it as an attachment. And could you play it straight from there? Does anyone want to share what happens when you get it as a file?
I just need to click the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big does it show up on your screen? Does it try to get huge and then get really out of focus, or does it show small and it looks in focus? I don't know. Someone want to share their screen to tell me what's happening on your screens?
Yeah, I'll share mine. Let me see.
Okay.
Oh, somebody's already playing.
Me too. I don't see any share happening. Somebody share it? Nobody wants to share? There we go. Okay. Oh, so it's playing inside your email. Hold on. Okay, so it's playing inside your email. You could also download it, keep it, play it bigger. So look at that. It's so small that it plays inside your email. Okay, well, there you go.
Beautiful.
Now this is 6.5 megabytes, so any email would have received it. I can also upload it. Thank you, Yolanda. I'm going to stop your share. You could have also go ahead and stop it.
I thought you started there.
All right. So now, let me go back to photos. Okay, so that's how you can create things. Where's my photos up? No, I just had to finish that. Okay, so now let me share just my photo screen. So now you saw how to turn basically an album as a sub-selection of your thousands of photos, but you might have put hundreds, and then from those you can sub-select a few to make a special project. In this case, a slideshow, which we call it a slideshow, but really it puts together a video, right? But you can, make choices about it versus in the album, you have no choice. You just hit slideshow and it does whatever it's going to do. and it's going to show every single thing that's in your slide, that's in your album. All right. Now, as I said, what kind of albums are worth making are albums that the computer can't figure out on its own. I haven't finished showing you everything else that the computer can figure out on its own. I just went through this whole list here of things that I showed you at the beginning of this class. Tracy, if anyone see, I showed exactly how to check every one of these things on your phone. I also showed you how to share all these things on your phone. Now, one thing that we haven't looked at, we looked at shared albums, we looked at my albums. I'm going to collapse them all to make it easy. I'm going to collapse my projects, and how I collapse them is using this little arrow. I want us to open this one called media types. I'm going to expand media types. This is other stuff that the computer collects on its own with artificial intelligence, or in this case with the metadata of the photos. So if I click on the word media types, just like if I click on shared albums or I click on my albums, it shows me each album. If I click on media types, it shows me my media types. But I don't really like seeing things that way. So I'm just going to go for like what? Looking at each one, videos. So here it shows me every video that I have. And here's the thing about this application is that although it's called photos, it also handles and stores all your computer's videos. So when we click on any of these videos, remember that you guys all voted that you wanted to know more about video editing. And so I'm going to spend some classes with that. You're not, you're not stuck with what other video you have. You can edit it. But what you can't do is put them together into a movie form, unless you have them be part of a slideshow. So one thing I did forget to say is you could put a movie in a slideshow. So let me go into the video and choose a really shorty. I don't know, here's a 9 second. See how I'm seeing the timing? Here's a 4-second video, so it's really short. I'm going to grab it and I can throw it in, see, to the Imaginary movie, to the Imaginary slideshow. So I have added it. It adds to the front for some strange reason. The stuff that I add has been adding to the front. If I don't do it this way, if I had gone to videos and added this video, like if I can see, anyway, everything you add afterwards comes to the front. I have to grab it and move it, right? So I'm going to put somewhere in the middle. I'm going to put this little video. I'm going to throw it in there. So when I do press go on this one and preview it, just type info out of the way. When I preview this video, the first two are photos, and this one is a video. So watch what's going to happen. I'm going to press preview on this. I should press preview from the beginning. Press preview. It shows the two photos. Come on. Shows two videos, two photos, and then it shows the video. But then it plays the video. You can't tell, but that's a video playing. There's not much movement, and then it goes to the photo. So it was just a short little 4-second video, so it didn't really seem to make sense. I would have to maybe put it in a bigger video. It's so out of place that you know that it's playing. So I'm going to put this video in there. So now you can be sure that it's a video playing. Let me get rid of that one because it's that video. So now I'm going to press preview and you'll see that it's a little video playing. It stops here and it played that video. See, it's a little slow motion of a little, it's a slow motion video. So that's why it's slow motion, not because the slideshow did that. It is a slow motion video of my youngest one. And then when the video finishes playing, it continues to the next photo. So you can put 2 or 3 or 4 videos together as a slideshow. And in that sense, make a video. Does that make sense? Like, it's crazy to say that you can make a slideshow, but let me make a slideshow and call it from videos. So I'll let you guys play with this. Let me just go over here from videos, and I'm going to just put some videos in there. I'm going to put this video in there, and I'm going to put this video in there, and I'm going to put this video in there, which makes no sense. I'm just throwing in 3 videos that are not even related. But because all these are videos, right? And I'm going to call it test movie from videos. If I were to play these right now, one video plays after the other, right? And again, these are many more seconds. So there goes the next one. And then when this was I was showing at the pandemic. I remember I filmed this the first day I went to Costco during the pandemic. And then hold on. I don't know how long it's going to take. Then it's going to jump to the last one. So you can then export this. And if your 3 videos made sense, you'd end up with a video of 3 videos together. So you've made a movie. Does that make sense, you guys? Inside of the Photos app, you can make a little movie if you first make it as a slideshow.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to get much more detailed about how to make a good movie, but that's your basic put together 3 videos. And then when you export it, you get a video of 3 videos. So that's like the basic way of how to make put 3 videos together. Wait until we get to that class to show you more details. Now, when you click on videos as an album, this self-selected all the videos from your library from whatever time they are. When you click on selfies, it's self-selecting any selfie. And what it considers a selfie is if you use the front camera of your phone. Okay, so that's the only thing that's considered a selfie. Even if you use the front camera to take a picture of a bug, it's considered a selfie because it's the front camera. Does that make sense? Usually we switch it to front camera to take pictures of ourselves, but maybe you took a picture of other people with the front camera. I don't know how you would do that. But then it would become, oh, you know what I tend sometimes to take as a selfie? Sometimes I want to see the connections on my computer. My computer's against a wall and I want to plug something in. I'll grab my front camera and I'll put it behind my computer and I'll take a picture and then I'll see what slot is empty. That turns out to be a selfie, but it's really a front picture of my camera of the back of my computer, which sounds convoluted, but that helps me know where I can plug in my next USB. Okay, that's a selfie. Then we have live photos. And live photos is something that some people love, some people hate. That is a little video. It's kind of like a little video that you do with your camera. So if I actually go to my phone, I'm going to share my phone. Where's my phone? There it is. So this is about how you take a picture. So I'm going to click on my camera icon. Okay. So I'm not taking, sorry, I don't know why that happened. I'm not going into my Photos app. I'm going into my camera app to take a picture. And here I'm showing my screen. You see this little yellow, you see this yellow thing on the top right? Can you see that circle? That means that what I'm taking is a live photo. So this is me seeing you guys with my camera in front. Okay, so I'm taking a live photo. So what that means is that it'll be a mini video. When I say shoot right now and I press go for that photo, it told me live. So that is going to be, and let me actually move my camera while I do that so you can see that. Okay, so I took a second one. Now, what that means is if I go to my camera photos and check on these last 2 things that I took, that really is a little moving. I can go up here to where it says live, and I can say loop, for example. And so this is a little mini video. Wait, and see, it's looping the movement, because remember I did like this. It's a 3-second long video. Or I can go to bounce and make it go back and forth. And I'm going up to this word there, or just leaving it as live, which just leaves it as a little live photo. When I try to see this photo, it'll do a little tiny 3-second movement. Now I have mine turned off to play the little 3-second movement. I noticed I have to change that in my settings. So I don't have it, but when you take a live picture, it, hold on. When you take a live photo, you make a little, I think it's 2 seconds, 3 seconds or 2 seconds or 1 second video. I don't remember right now anymore how it is. So really you're taking a video instead of a photo, and it takes up much more. It's like equivalent in size to, like, depending on this 1 second, it's 17 photos. I mean, it's a lot of photos, or 24 photos, depending on the settings that you have set. So if you don't want to take live photos, press that button with your finger to turn it off. Now, when you take a picture, it's just a photo. But if you touch it again and it's yellow, that's taking live photos. Okay, so each one of these pictures occupies, I can't say accurately right now how many times the space of one photo. Depends. I don't know right now how many photos per second the live photos takes, but it basically could be like 24 photos for 1 second versus one photo to make that little video. Does that make sense? So you probably don't want live photos on all the time unless you really want it. Okay, so if you want to never take live photos, you need to actually make those changes in the settings of your camera. You go to the settings and you go down to your camera. Here it is. You go down to your camera and you can choose over here. Maybe you could choose it. Ha! Preserve settings. Here, live photo. I have this turned on. Preserve live photo setting rather than automatically reset to live photo turn on. If this is off, every time you try to take a picture, it defaults to live photo on. You turn it off with one, like I said, like you press the button and it turns off, but then when you go open the camera again, it automatically resets to on. The phone wants to take live photos. If you say, no, stop doing that, then you have to come over here, turn this on. And this time, if you turn it off, it'll go, oh, okay, I got it. You don't want live photos. So it'll leave it on. If you turn it on, it'll say, oh, you want live photos, and it leaves it on. So it makes more sense, because when you do want live photos, when would you want live photos? Say that you're taking pictures of your, of a baby that moves really quickly, or your dog, you know, things that are really fast, or your kid jumping from one rock to another and you want to catch them in midair. Good. Then a live photo is a good idea, because it does this little, a few seconds where you can maybe catch them in midair. But other than that, the live photo just takes up a lot of space. Okay. So you want to keep this one on. And again, how I found it is I went to settings. Okay, go all the way to open your settings, scroll all the way down till you find the camera and click on camera. And then over here, it's kind of hidden. It's under preserve settings. Choose preserve settings. And here you go. Turn this on and leave it on. Okay. That said, if you prefer always to shoot as video or always to shoot as panorama, you can do the same with that. But this one, I find that it's better to have it default to photo all the time myself. But if you want to always have it video, then every time you open it, it stays as video. Or if you always want to open panorama, it stays in panorama. So this is the only one that makes sense, quick sense to me. Okay, so then another set of choices that are probably the default choices here. We were saying how many video is 30 frames per second here, right? So that means that every time you show a live video, if the live photo, I'm sorry, is a 1 second video, then that's equivalent to 30 photos. If you want a lower quality video, then you can go here and choose lower quality ones, or higher quality video, then it's equivalent to 60 photos per second. Right? So you need to be very careful. If your settings here are different than this, say that you choose this, then a 60 frames per second, a high definition at 1080, that means that each one of like 1 minute of video will be 90 megabytes. Like, it's just huge. So you have to be very careful. Anyway, I would leave that at the in between, but if for any reason you really need higher quality, then you can change that. All right, I'm going to back up and go back to my sharing my computer now, because I was just showing you how to turn on or off the choice of live photos. So here already the 2 live photos that I took appeared over here. Now, if I sit if I want to see that, that's it. That was my live photo. See how it was a little video? Here, this is the one that I just took with you guys, and this one I just moved. So when I hover over the live, okay. I can't tell how long is this. Is it 1, 2, 3? I think it's about 3 seconds. So at 30 frames per second, that's equivalent to 90 photographs to do that little live photo. The size, the space of what that takes, okay? So if you took 10 photos, you the equivalent of 900 photos instead of 1 photo. So you want to prevent live videos. If you now here, this is a live video if I want to see it. So this is part of a parade. So you need to hit the space bar and hover over this live thing to see the live portion of it. Okay. Some of you guys might have all your photos taken as live photos because that's what your camera has always been set up. Right? How many of you guys, when you clicked on live photos, you have a ton of photos in here?
I just,
Yes. What's that?
I have lots of live photos, but
Here it says how many photos.
but I was able to turn it off. In other words, the picture already taken and they
And the
were live
camera.
photos, but because I don't want it to occupy too much storage, I was able to make those live photos unlive.
But it's not really. Not really. Let me show you what you're talking about. So here's my photo that I just took that's live, right? That's right. So what she's saying is, because I showed you guys last time, you can turn that off. You can right click and say turn off live photo. Right. So now when I select that, it doesn't look like a live photo anymore. Oh, surprisingly enough, it's still under live photos. Why? Because although I stopped it from doing that whole little thing, that file is still that big. Why? Because I can still turn it on again. It didn't lose any of its live photo-ness. Okay, it's still a live photo.
Oh.
Once it's a live photo, it's always a live photo.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got
You
it
can
now.
right click and turn off the fact that it plays, but it's still a live photo. All right?
Another question.
Yes.
On top of the live photos is selfies. Are you able, can you give us tips to taking better selfies? All my selfies are all ugly and not worth keeping, but they are important because they gives me.
I don't like myself in selfies either. There's, other than having a really much longer arm or having one of those selfie takers that puts it further where you can focus it. All my selfies are from under here and my face is always like, eh. So yeah, I don't, I don't know what to say as far as better selfies. Just before you click, pay more attention. Yeah, I probably put only a couple of decent selfies here, but most of my selfies I hate. So this is me trying to fake it by putting the good ones. But I assure you, I have thousands in my real camera of selfies that look disgusting. Now and then one turns up kind of okay. So I put them in here, but yeah, I don't have much of a trick for that. Look at the light, make sure the light, you know, like any photo, look at the light and make sure the light is good and that kind of thing. So that's live photos. That said, you can have, as I showed you before, something fun. You can create little effects. So I don't know how to put the effects here in the computer. In fact, I know how to do the effects in the camera, where you can bounce it or do that, but I don't know how to do that here, interestingly enough. So those effects that I showed you in the, let me see if it's under edit. Yeah, it's under edit. Okay, so I'll show you when we edit these, which I'll show you later. This is when you can have it loop. So say that if you like this and you say done, then this plays as a loop when it goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, that kind of thing. But I'll show you this when we do these. So there's, as I said, if you got your kid jumping from one rock to the other, you could bounce it and have them go back and forth, back and forth. So it's a typical thing for memes, for videos, for computer, for social media and that kind of stuff. I'll show you how to do it, but in the tiny moment that I personally don't. All right, portraits. Again, all these settings are photo settings, right? So if you have the portrait setting, this is a bit more interesting. If you do the portrait setting right, you can actually get some nice little background off, out of focus. Now, if you have a real camera, right? And I'm thinking a real photographer with lenses, you're going to get a nicer job out of it because you'll do it through the lens. This is a digital out of focus. So when you take the picture, you can choose to have the settings. See, it's telling me that it's setting portrait settings in here. I chose my settings so that everything out of here went out of focus, but see how even the back of my bowl also went out of focus? And then the front went out of focus. As long as I wanted that, that's fine. But I didn't have much control of how out of focus it went or not. Now that's really nice for certain things. For a portrait over here, I was able to make all of this go out of focus because I chose the portrait setting. It's got a little bit of a haziness around the hair that's a little bit suspicious. A bit of weird stuff here around his head. For the most part, with a quick pickup of the camera, I got a nice portrait instead of having a very busy portrait with lots of like leaves and stuff going all over around. Okay, so here's one that the bottom I did with portrait and it's kind of fuzzy, and then here's one where I did with more portrait and the background is even fuzzier. So that helps you know, not have a very busy image. See here again, I took it in this portrait mode and it chooses, like here his shirt begins to be in focus and then down there it's out of focus. It's kind of weird. Why did it make that choice? So and here the edges here are a little bit weird. So if you can fix this later in Photoshop or something, that's good. But other than that, for a decent portrait, it's not bad, but it's not perfect. It just does a good enough job. For someone who's never going to work with real cameras or in real Photoshop, this is great. This is beautiful. It's much better than had you seen all of the stuff that's going on around. Okay, so how do you do that? You set your phone. So let me share again my phone. And again, this isn't really a how to take photos class, so I'm just going to share this and show you these settings, and then you guys can practice during the week. Because if you don't have anything here that says portrait, it's because you never took a photo with portrait. If you don't have anything that says live photos or selfies or panoramas, you never did it. So your homework for next week, other than putting photos in the to be edited video, the other homework that you have is to create one of each type of all these different things that can be created, including slow motion photos, high speed. Let me just show you. So here we go. How do you put the photo in portrait mode? So it's simple. You go over here down on these choices that I'm moving here in the bottom, right? I'm going over here and I'm choosing slow motion, time lapse, video, photo, portrait, pano. So these are the ones. So when you're in portrait mode, you can choose different lights. You can choose natural light, studio light, contour light, and it does its best to adapt what it's going to do. But notice that everything seems like it's in focus right now. Here we go. I have some stuff. Looks like everything seems to be in focus right now. These are some photos, some shells that I have under my monitor. I can go up to these settings. I know, that's my alarm telling me to finish settings. See the far right where I have this, these settings right here? I can click on this F, that kind of like a weird F, which is right there, that guy. And these things turned on. So for those of you who have some knowledge of photography, what I do with this, switching it back and forth, is going to make a difference as to what's going to be in focus or not. So it's going kind of crazy because it's trying to do portraits of people. So my camera is kind of deciding to do portraits of people. So I don't have a sample here. So I'm going to have to, but it's trying to see, it's seeing you guys, your faces, and it's trying to focus on that. And that's why it's going kind of crazy. It's not wanting to focus on my shells because it doesn't. But if you, yeah, so it's really not wanting to do this because it sees people, and here it says people too. Here, maybe it doesn't see people there. Okay, now that it doesn't see people, it's doing a better job. Because now it's, no, it's not letting me. I'm gonna have to show this. I'm gonna have to ask someone to come and stand in front of me so that I can show you the workings of the f-stop. Basically, if you put this down to the lowest f-stops, you're gonna get a nice out of focus in the background. Go try it. So basically, you turn on, you touch this little F right there, and then you get yourself a lower depth of field. See, it's saying no person detected. It's just not letting me because it's looking for a person. So anyway, this isn't going to work. I'm trying to show you how to do it because I need a person in front of me. And this doesn't work as a selfie. So I can't like turn it around on me. The portrait mode is only in the photo, and it's only on the lenses that are in the back. So now the smaller this number, like 1.4, the more chance that it'll give you out of focus background in the back. Okay, so try that. Try to take the same picture like that, and then I'll do some myself, and then next week I'll show you the difference between those two, and it's the settings of how big or small your aperture is. Okay. That's all I can show you right now. For portrait mode, to get out of this whole mode, click on this little arrow, like right there, that one. See that one right there? If you click on it, you get all these choices. If you don't click on it, you're back to basic portrait, pano, video, high speed, low speed, lapse. Now, I'm not going to have you do a time lapse and a slow-mo right now. We'll do that before the following week. We're going to do editing video. But if you have a chance to do one of these guys, it's pretty fun. Like turn on the tap water of your kitchen and video slow-mo, and it'll be really cool. Or go and do something. I did some flapping flags that was really quick in time lapse, and it kind of did a good job. So go and try to take a little bit of each. Now, a pano, you click go and you do like this, and then it does a whole long photo, then you stop. Now I've done a pano. Now, why I did all this is not because I want to teach you how to take pictures per se, because I want you to see a bit of each of these appear, right? And they won't appear unless you have them, right? So I have a couple of videos here that I did as a slow-mo. Here's an example of a slow-mo. I'm going to play it. This is the slow-mo. I just turn on the tap water. And that's nothing creative, but that goes to show you that's your little iPhone can do that, right? So try that. And then this is the opposite. This was little flags. This was the time lapse. There was wind and there was lots of clouds flowing through and some flapping winds. And so this made it go much faster. So if you set the camera and, you know, take a picture of a flower opening and you run it for many hours, you'll get a flower going. Whoop. So that's an example of, again, just seeing the clouds move really quickly. And this isn't, the wind wasn't that fast, nor was the clouds that fast, but just because it's time lapse, it took that long. Okay. Anyway, so that's an example of time lapse. So since I didn't shoot them in this camera, instead of popping here as time lapse and slow-mo, they're going under videos because this camera isn't recognizing them as slow-mo and raw, but there they are. All right. So selfies, live photo, portrait, panoramas. These are photos that you take with this pano mode. Didn't I just take a pano? Did it not come in yet?
I don't think we're seeing
Yes.
your screen again.
Oh,
Yeah.
all this time I've been speaking and you guys haven't been watching all my slow-mo. Oh, sorry. I dropped my phone and never changed. Oh, come now. Are you guys so asleep that you didn't notice? Thank you, Linda. Tell me you're not seeing it.
Showing your, I think I thought you were just showing the iPhone features. I didn't.
No, I was showing you
The
a
slow-mo.
slow-mo, a time lapse. Oh, okay. So here's my slow-mo. Here's my slow-mo of water out of my tap.
Ooh.
Did I put my fingers in the way and the water jumps? Anyway, nothing creative, as I said, but hey, slow-mo. Okay. And then this was an example of pointing towards the sky when it was windy. And this is time lapse. It's going really fast. And it looks like the clouds are zooming by when in reality it was just going by a little bit fast, but see how fast it's going. So that's time lapse. Okay. That's thank you, Linda, for saying something, or you guys were not have seen that. So that's that. And then panorama. These are panorama, and this is a photo of our stadium once there was a concert, or you know, a pano taken of the giant sequoias, a big grand arch. So anyway, that's an example of the pano. Now I notice over here, this is the pano that I just took. It's not very panoramic-ish, but if you do a very short, like right next to my monitor, I did a pano, and look at how the monitor looks like it's all broken up. See, it's like, so you have to have some distance from it. I just did that right now, a second ago, and it's kind of weird. All right, cool. For those of you who know about RAW, here's an example of, it separates raw photos. Just leave it at that. If you don't know about RAW, don't bother. But what I want you to have is a bit of each, okay? So your homework is, because class is now over, is in your albums, did you all make a to be edited album? That was, you had to put it to be edited, just a basic empty album, call it to be edited, and then every time you see a photo that you want to edit in some way or another, throw it in there. Okay, that's my to be edited. That's a homework. I want you guys to have maybe 5 to 10 photos in there so you have some variety of things that you want to fix. And the other one is with your camera, go and shoot one of each type of all these kind of things that you can, that your camera allows you to, so that you see under media types a whole bunch of different choices, and you learn how to do it. And if you go, I have no idea how to do this, then you'll ask me next week, because you'll try and it won't work, and I'll show you how to do it. Make sure to keep your videos really short. Videos, as I said, take a whole bunch of space in your camera, in your computer, and your everything, in your cloud. So if you're going to take a video, you know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, but don't do like 5-minute videos of something that not much is happening, right? Because then when you edit it, you'll see you really can't get rid of all that extra stuff. You can shorten it to look short. You want to show only 1 minute of your 5-minute video, you can edit it to look only 1 video long, but you can't really get rid of all that extra time that you don't want. So it's better to take many short spurts of videos than to take one really long one that then you really only wanted 30 seconds of it. So if you're taking a video, something that takes a while, just start it, stop it, and then start it and stop it again when there seems a natural starting and stopping point. And then you can work much better with that when we get into the video editing mode in the iMovie app. Okay. All right. Next week, we're also going to learn about smart albums and folders to store albums into. So three homeworks. The last homework is make more albums. Okay. Make more albums that make sense. Again, try to avoid place albums or people albums. Why place? Because if you just go to places, you can just see really quickly all the photos from, here, from Arches. I can just go over here and I see all the photos from Arches. That doesn't mean that you don't want to have an album that says my trip to Europe with your favorite, 5 cities and your favorite photos of those 5 cities. But if you want to see all your photos of that city, you can do it this way. What you can't do this way is here you would get all 200 photos of that city. So make an album with your favorite 10 photos of that city. But if you just want to see photos of that city, you can just go to the map, right? So leave the album for your favorite 10 photos of that city versus all your photos of that city. Does that make sense, you guys? How you're going to use your albums? Just to prioritize, not just place, locations, or time. Rather, special ones of that place, special ones of that event, special ones of that thing, like my son sleeping in a weird position, okay? You might have your own versions of that. If you take 250 photos of birds every year, your 5 best birds, right? Or whatever. Okay. Usually when I talk, I turn off the share. Hopefully you have a lot to do between here and next week. And have fun. Have fun with your cameras. Create material that you have at the end, because you might have some long ago photo from way over there that's bad. Well, just go take a dark photo and have it nearby so that you can edit it. Like put your camera in a way that you say that you take a bad picture that's crooked. So take a photo that's crooked and then you have them right there that we can fix next week. Okay? Because we're going to be editing photos. We're going to do new albums, smart albums, stuff like that. We're going to start editing photos. And then after that, we're going to start editing videos. So, yay. Oh, and keywords. We're going to work with keywords this week. All right. Bye. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.